Let's go,
Um,
Let's go!
Mario.
Woohoo!
so, welcome everyone to our very first offline session of the Blue Lamp, but our 17th session total. With me today are Intrepid Heroes. Say hi, Intrepid Heroes.
Hi,
Hello.
Intrepid Heroes. See,
Hello.
I know this
Hi,
reference.
hello. I
Well,
don't know the
not Florin
reference.
immediately muting himself. Anyway, if Brendan Lee Mulligan finds me, he can eat my ass. I don't give a shit. Coming right out the gate, swinging as per usual. My name, as always, is Siska. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm always stressed, always depressed, and always extremely well dressed. With me today are four of our five intrepid heroes. And here, due to unfortunate circumstances, couldn't make it. You might be noticing that he's not here, and we're not recording live on Twitch. There's no sidebar, there are no alerts, there are no subscriptions being renewed. It's just us, baby. Just the six of us. Sorry, five of us.
Well, Chip, poor Chip.
And Chip. Who could ever forget about Chip?
Don't worry, we'll simulate some donations coming in and some subscribers. Yo! Shoutouts to Big Butt Eater 69. Thank you for joining the stream.
No, that's just me. Anyway, very happy to introduce Florian. The first new member, another new member of this here little campaign. Florian, why don't you introduce yourself, but not your character just now. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your name and what are your pronouns?
Hello, I'm him. I'm Florian. I'm Francisca's brother. I joined newly due to Francisca asking me if I wanted to, and also me really wanting to. I live in Sweden. I have a wife. I really fucking love my wife. And that's also the reason I was muted for the first 20 seconds of the stream, because right as Francisca started recording, she came bursting in with my cat.
Oh,
Aww.
That's Olivia for you. Shoutouts to Olivia. Great woman.
shoutouts to Olivia. Thank you for joining the stream.
Amazing,
tell her
amazing
later.
friend. I'm very glad to have her as my sister-in-law. I'm a bit dubious about her husband, but we can talk about that later. Cool. So you just talked. Why don't you talk about a little bit about yourself and your character, Stacy?
Oh no, I have to talk about me on my own again. It's not going to do you again. Okay, good. I'm Coolster. I'm she, her. I'm playing as Stacy Vale, also she, her. Stacy is now in a draconic little interdimension, more or less. She tries to figure out how to use her new powers, and she was also open towards Seti about that, because in one of her I'd like to call it memories or visions, she saw that having secrets is maybe not the best way to handle in a group of people you want to trust. So she tries to work on her trust issues. And she is really excited now to go. We're going west, right? Or was it east?
We're going far west.
We're going far west, okay. In one of the duchies, and there she tries to determine if she wants to be open about her family or not.
Very cool. Algernon, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and your character?
Oh my god, hi, I'm Algernon, they, them. I play Xiomara, also they, them. And they actually love keeping secrets. They think it's very sexy to keep secrets and very hot, and that's the perfect way to interact with people in the party, by keeping secrets and never opening up about anything in their entire life. They're currently going through some shit, with turning into a fiend and all that, but they are so fine about that. They're very they can do that. They're not overwhelmed or anything at all, and they're excited to get out of here at the moment and to travel somewhere else, so they don't have to interact with their problems as much as possible. Yeah.
It's like finding out you're really into pickled garlic, so you just keep eating it by yourself, but you tell no one about it, and honestly, no one needs to know, but you still enjoy yourself, so that's something.
Exactly.
You heard it here first, folks. Francisca really said, turning into a devil, much like eating pickled garlic. Maxie, speaking of garlic,
I, speaking of things that are pickled ginger kind of goes off, fellas. Anyways, hello there. Name is Mexi. Pronouns are they them? Hello, I am a creator, game designer, book writer, little goblin, and today I will be piloting Omni. Omni is a 1,000-year-old sorts person who recently was woken up from a very long nap. Omni is not entirely convinced this is all not just part of some dream, and they're currently enjoying living in the lower planes with all these little curious little mortals and their little problems. I will say, a little sad we don't get to play with Antir today, but I do enjoy the ongoing meme that Omni and Seti have never interacted. I feel like that's becoming stronger, and I like that.
absolutely. Today's a special session, partly because I'm really tired, but I always am, partly because, we're just figuring out how to do all of this. Today is the start of a big, development for the party. Last we left off with our heroes, they just finished their preparations for their great trip to the west, and Omni had been awoken from a 10,000-year slumber. Awoken, of course, by the nefarious and dubious Archmage Vico Ramon, who turns out may not be much of an archmage and more of an archdemon. They bound Omni in a kind of pact, and now they are bound to serve the party. More specifically, keep an eye on Xiomara. If Xiomara ever turns away from the Archmage, Omni is to kill them. And if Omni ever tries to harm anyone on the party, especially Vico, they will be turned. They will probably be turned back into a sword and buried somewhere. So, probably tossed into the ocean. They have now gathered out in the Artificers Guild premises. You can see the loud hustle and bustle of the city is slowly dying down as a coppery glow falls over Maracas. Soft drizzle fills the air with both pleasant sound and pleasant aroma, something that isn't entirely alien to you, Omni. It definitely awakens something in you that maybe you weren't ready for just yet. You arrive at the Artificers Guild. You can see it's this big, like, compound with lots of, like, vehicles standing around, many crates full of tools. It's kind of walled off. Maracas itself being kind of a tower itself. You have this big landing platform and this enormous blimp standing or floating just above it. And speaking of which, maybe I can show it to you already. As indeed,
Ooh.
you're now standing below the Ariane Way, the first of her kind, a luxury class blimp and pleasure barge that takes that transports around any kind of nobles who just kind of want to see the countryside and get drunk and dance and look down on everyone, literally. Today, however, there are no nobles here. The prince arranged a special trip just for the party, their own little private group of of little helpers, and a small platoon of about 24 or so guards. You can see now as you approach the group, the five of you now as you are still with Flora, Zizi, and I guess it's 6 of you, huh? So the 6 of you, sorry. Zizi, Flora, Omni, Stacy, Seti. Yeah? Yeah. Did I forget anyone? Help.
We'll fix it in post. Don't worry about it.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll
As the six of you, as the party approaches, why do I make it complicated on myself? I don't understand. You approach the blimp. The kind of artificers running along. As you can tell, a lot of them are just local gnomes. Some of them might be migrants from the old world. Just kind of running in between your legs, running alongside you. Just kind of in a hurry, just hustling and bustling. The guards are helping as best as they can, just kind of moving crate, but mostly they're just standing in formation, practicing some moves, talking with each other, giving each other reports. You can see there's a very striking figure among them, one that you would recognize, Xiomara.
Yes.
Cool. The recording is just spazzing out a bit. Because you've actually talked to him before.
Oh.
You can see this tall, very stately looking half orcish man. Kind of a rare sight here in Maracas. There are not a lot of half orcs or any kind of orcs really living in the city. This particular one made it all the way to the rank of commander of the guard. Partially because his predecessor was fired a couple of days ago. You can see he still has an arm in a sling from some kind of battle that you've only heard legends about. And he's talking to another... Now, for the first time, you notice very familiar-looking half-orc, who appears to be of the same height, has kind of a similar phrase structure. Of course, you would recognize her instantly, Omni and Sumari, because this is Professor Yosa Firefall. It occurs to you now that the commander and your fellow student and now professor do have the same last name, and they do look very similar. You can see the two of them actually talking privately to two, maybe not as high-ranking guards, but high-ranking guards nonetheless. You would be able to tell that they are like lieutenants. One of them, another half-orc. This one a little taller than Commander Firefall.
Ooh.
A little more purple, perhaps, and a little more tired-looking. We flash back to the morning. Two lieutenants in civilian clothing are walking each other through the barracks and through the central barracks in Maracas. They're both extremely wounded. One of them still has a black eye. You can see there's a very tall, grim-looking orc, the one I just introduced. Also, kind of a short, medium, half-elf woman with two distinct scars crisscrossing her face. A black eye, as I said, and a very grim expression, and she very angrily walks ahead, leaving you behind, but... Before you tell us what you think about all of this, what's happened in the past couple of days, Tyr, why don't you introduce your character?
Hello. I'm the handsome man in the picture. I'm Tyr. I'm a guard. I was a guard, I guess. Things are kind of blurry. I've been in this city all my life. I've been a guard ever since I could have a job. Yeah, this has been the city I grew up with, and I've seen it change too much, and now after my last assignment I kind of feel like there has to be something I can do about what's happening around here. Anyways,
speaking of what's happening out here, you just woke up after falling unconscious after being brutally beaten up at the end of your other assignment. You managed to procure a missing traveling alchemist. She was badly wounded, but last time you checked, she was still alive. After that, your serving captain, Captain Amos, actually told you to go meet up with the commander himself, who it seems has something special to talk about with you two. You walk throughout the barracks, noticing an eerie quiet. Every time you do see a guard, they just kind of look at you furtively, like, oh no, if I look at him too long, it's gonna hit me too. Right now, you're not quite sure what it is. Anything going through your head right now?
Well, I did something sort of stupid. I'm aware of that. But I I have some foreshadowing about what's going to happen. I'm not sure if I'm entirely devastated about it. So, in my expectation, I'm gonna get fired. That's the worst thing that can happen. But I'm prepared.
How does this translate outwardly, do you think? Are you still just kind of walking stoically through the barracks, just kind of limping along behind Rendari, who is, in fact, just straight up running ahead of you? She has no regards right now. You can tell she's once again in her headspace where she's just really focused on the task ahead, and she doesn't care if any harm is going to come of it.
I think I'm very much in thoughts, and you can kind of tell that I'm not focusing on what's around me. I'm just kind of thinking about the situation that's about to unfold. I'm trying not to look bothered, but I might be really bothered actually.
Finally, you're really bothered right now.
Yeah.
It's an extremely sunny day outside. It's the middle of autumn, and Morocco seems to have forgotten it. Of course, autumn here in Morocco is always a little hot. You can tell clouds outside. It's about a summer thunderstorm is about to hit the city. But right now it's no more than a trickle. As the water kind of hits the windows with a gentle tapping, you make it towards the commander's office. It's a very plain door. It's always been very plain, but ever since the new commander took place, you're feeling that there's a new humility to the guard that it hadn't before. Maybe a new kind of sensibility too. You kind of wonder what he will make with it. Of course, this is also paired with you being ecstatic that finally you get to serve alongside an orc and maybe even have him lead. You knock at the door. Rendari, not even looking at you, she's looking at the ground, crossing her arms, tapping her foot. Doesn't take a moment when you hear a almost familiar voice saying,
Right. Coming in, please.
All right. Let's go in.
Rendari gives you Rendari gives you something that might have been a skull at some point and heads in before you. You step inside, close the door behind you as the commander indicates with his hand. You can see it's still early in the morning and he looks like he already looks like completely ready to go. Of course, he's not that ready to go. You can see his arm still in a sling. You saw him put down 2 cambions at once with that arm. But he has a calm about him that is almost eerie. Speaking of eerie, there's a figure sitting next to him at his desk. A small, hunched, elderly, elvish woman wearing completely black robes and a veil seemingly made out of lace. There's kind of drapes her face very loosely, and you can see 2 very big, pale eyes looking at you like some kind of overgrown cat. Argo, the commander, doesn't look at you and says,
Please sit down.
he points at a small tray next to him that has like a large corked bottle on it, as well as 3 tumblers. As you sit down, he asks,
Now, Tyr, if you wouldn't mind pouring us a little drink, I think that will make the following a little bit easier.
All right. I pour drinks in order of military rank.
You pour 1 drink for Commander Firefall, another drink for Lieutenant Kinesis Rendari, and finally a drink for you. The strange figure in the robe seems to regard you, but doesn't seem to be asking for any kind of drink herself. You get the feeling that she might be some kind of civilian assistant. Maybe she's like somebody from the morgue. You noticed you've seen a lot of strange priests around lately that the Order of the Crooked Man has gone. And this seems to be one of them. You can see Argos doing some paperwork. There's a large stack of paper next to him. He finally sits down his pen, takes a sip, and undoes his cravat a little, and he regards the 2 of you, invites you to drink with like a small gesture, and says,
Right then. Lieutenants Northgate, and Kinesis. First of all, I would like to express my thanks for your exemplary service in the last couple of days. It's been a rough time for the entire guard. I should know. I'm in charge now.
He was kind of dissociating at that. At this point, you finally notice that just how tired he is. Rendari gives him a scowl, and she begins. You know she's about to explode with something. Do we do something about that?
I'll just put my hand on her shoulder, give her a knowing glance. Nothing more.
It almost comes out as a sob as she says, "That I don't understand why we're having this talk. If we're doing exemplary work, I don't see why there's any reason to talk at all. We have a route to get back to, Commander, with all due respect." He looks at you both for a moment and says,
None offense taken, Lieutenant.
takes a deep sip again, refills his cup.
Right, there's no easy way to put it, but there's just no way that I can have either of you in this city right now. Mind, this is not because of anything you really did. I don't think there's any way I could look at your service as anything other than exemplary. That being said, recent events have made me realize that maybe you're not fit for the city. And in recent events, and in light of the prince's recent decision to move to expand the Moroccan project, as we like to call it, outside of the city itself, I think it's only fair if the guard keeps up. But first, I would like to have the reports out of your mouths, from you personally. And that's what. Now, one moment. That's what Mother Harley here is here to assist us for.
He regards the elvish woman sitting next to him, who gives a curt little nod and says, "Dread Mother, embrace you. I'm glad to see you both, children, as he is glad to see you." You're not quite sure who he is. You can give me a religion check to figure out what she's even talking about, but if you don't want to, we can just carry on.
Oh no.
What's your religion? Look in your character sheet if religion has a proficiency or not. Otherwise, it's just a straight up roll 1d20 plus your intelligence modifier.
It's it's a +2 on my intelligence. On religion. Hold on, it's a d20 I roll. That's a 12.
With the 12. By the way, later on you can get the other players to help you figure out how to connect your D&D Beyond with Roll20. You can also just put it in Roll20 like this. You put /R and then D20, what did you say, +2? +2, right?
Yes.
For example, they can see it will just give you the roll and the modifier, and I would have gotten a 13 because my dice like me a little more. But of your eyes, she's talking about the Dread Mother and he who welcomes you. She's talking about the god of death Yergo, who's frequently represented as both a mother and a father. That is, the Dread Mother and Father Death. You seem to remember something about the Temple of Yargo overtaking the premises that used to belong to the Order of the Crooked Man, and the Grand Say in the Temple District. It seems they're making a move. Maybe they want to be the new dominant religion here in Maracas. As you take all that in, Orgel explains that Mother Harley, the priestess who's joined you here today, has been instrumental in all kinds of interrogations lately, though he's hesitant to explain why that is. Unless you volunteer to go first, he's just going to go to Rendari and ask her for a report.
Nope. Rendari can go first.
Kind of indignant, but that's just kind of how she is. She starts explaining that what happened basically was that she got into an escalation in the Hearth District between two civilians, one of whom pulled a knife on the other one, at which point she got involved and just got decked in the head by the one without the knife. That person then later died. At that point, Mother Harley raises a bony finger and says, "But that's not quite true, is it?" Rendari, you can see, her eye starts twitching and she starts shivering, and she doesn't like being called a liar, but then again, she doesn't like a lot of things. Past week has been rough on her. You're just kind of the stoic and silent type who's there to have her back. Mads is usually the one who would talk her out of a rage, because he was just kind of good with words. With Mads out of commission for a while, you're kind of not sure what to do with her. But before she can explode, Argyle says, well, Argyle being Commander Firefall,
Well, Lieutenant, there's no need to get indignant. This is not disciplinary action. I merely seek to know the truth. Mother Harley here is adept at knowing when there is no truth present. And I believe you simply left something out.
and he pulls out a report of his own and reads, basically explains that the brawl wasn't between two civilians. It was between a civilian and a guard who had been suspended the week prior. The guard had been suspended because he started insulting the prince after he'd come out. So the guy was like, well, fuck that. And he just been kind of hanging around the hearth, getting drunk. And he got into a fight with a civilian over the role of all of the Crooked Man in the events. And Rendari apparently just got in there and started defending the guy, who then pulled a knife on the civilian. And while they were fighting, she just got involved into the fight, knocked out both guys. Unfortunately, the civilian later on died from bleeding out. So that's what happened. At the end, it's a suspendable offense. Depending on the court and the day, Rendari might get, ejected from the guard entirely. Maybe might even get a sentence. From what you can tell, however, the commander doesn't seem interested in that. Instead, he says,
Well, Lieutenant, why did you feel the need to defend your fellow guardsmen if you'd been suspended for unacceptable behavior the week prior?
and Rendari says, you can see she's kind of looking at the ground again. She says, in times like these, it's important that we as guards stick together. We cannot afford to lose somebody in a brawl just for their opinions. We need every guard we can have, Commander. Please give me an insight check. Tier, just an easy one, just a DC 10.
Coming up. I think I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it here.
You're doing it here?
I'm doing it in Beyond. That's a 14. I got a 14.
Very good. One moment. With a 14, you realize that she's not wrong, but she's not telling the entire truth here. You realize now that the reason Rendari actually defended that shitty guard was... Oh dear. The reason she defended that shitty guard is that she kind of feels like it's her duty because she's been suspended many, many times for much less bad reasons, and somebody has always had her back. And that someone was you and Mads.
Yeah.
Anyway, unless you start calling that out, Priestess Harley is going to continue and say, that's not entirely true as either, child. You feel lost, don't you? You feel for anyone who's lost too, much like this guard. She tries to argue for a moment, but then Rendari relents and just kind of tilts her head. For the first time, you maybe see her shamed a little bit. Although it's hard to argue with an old lady telling you that you've just lied to her. Finally, Lieutenant, Commander Firefall comes to you and says,
Well, you've seen the procedure now. All I ask you to do is be honest. What happened on that mission? What happened on the estate?
I was very forward with my approach. I found a way in. I found a way to talk to the people there. I got caught because I wasn't being careful enough. I got out of being trapped in whatever basement they had with the person I was trying to extract. Then I got caught again. And by whatever sheer luck I had, we happened to land. The guy who captured me tried to teleport us. We got teleported right into the middle of the city. And that was basically my saving grace. Some other guards saw us and we got rescued. I was being bold when I shouldn't have been. And I went alone when I shouldn't have. But I feel the situation could have gotten much worse, which, with what I saw back in that mansion, I think a solo mission was the good idea, but I wasn't prepared.
he slowly nods, and Harley just kind of strokes her wrinkly chin before she says, why didn't you go in alone? Why did you go in alone?
Well, who was I gonna go with? Everybody else was taken up, and this was my mission. I was supposed to look for this person. I know that Mats was out of commission, and Rendari, well, you know, I don't know. I felt that her being not there, I had the opportunity to go in on my own and arouse less suspicion. That's what I wanted to do.
You see, both nod, both the priestess and the commander. Commander finishes writing his own report, puts it aside, pours you a tumbler and gives it to you and says,
This is some very expensive hooch, so I hope you appreciate that. Lieutenant Northgate, may I call you Tyr?
Sure.
Tyr. So obviously a fellow half-orc in the guard. I can imagine what were the circumstances of your upbringing. I know what your training was like. I've talked a great deal with the captain. What do you think you're doing here in the guard?
I'm upholding a standard.
What is that standard?
It's just how the guards do their job. I see when it goes well, then I commend them for their job. I try to stay friendly with all the guards, so they know that they have people that they can fall back on if anything else fails. And I try to make sure that everybody follows.
A very clinical approach to guarding, I think. I've always liked to think of us as servants of law. Law, mind, is not the opposite of chaos. It doesn't punish chaos. It doesn't try to neutralize it. It exists alongside it in a relationship not unlike the rise and fall of the tide. Servants of the law, our goal is to bring them into balance. What I believe is just that you've upset the balance that has been in this city between falling into chaos and becoming a state ruled by tyranny. You've uncovered something that we've all suspected for a long time here in the city council, in the captain's meetings of the guard, that the nobles do not respect the crown and they do not respect us. They do not respect order. And I think you saw that, and it moved something inside of you. And what kind of condition did you find?
He looks at his notes.
Professor Sata? What condition did you find her in?
She was tied up next to me, chains on the wall, some deep basement, grotto. I don't know. I just know that I took her out of there. She wasn't conscious. I was able to fling her over my shoulder and run her out of there, but I just remember us falling into the market square or whatever it was.
You fell
And she
into
was still unconscious.
you fell into the Palace District Plaza, I think.
Right. Cool. Yes, but she was unconscious the whole time. I didn't get to talk to her.
She'd been beaten, bruised. A bit of her soul had been extracted through some kind of drow magic. We're still trying to figure it out. She was an envoy sent. She was an envoy sent for by the prince himself. She was supposed to help with scientific developments here that the prince had hoped would help the development of infrastructure here. Somehow, Lady Saros got wind of it and had her captured and had her tortured. I don't know about you, but I think the implications of this are quite dire indeed.
Right.
Tyr, I would like you to tell me, what oath did you swear when you became a paladin?
Wait, I had this open earlier.
Don't worry about it.
Oath of the
You're
Ancients.
you're crackling a bit, brother.
Oath of the Ancients.
The ancients.
Yes.
So you can see, Firefall gets out another file, looks through your history, and says,
Very well. I think you saw the injustice of it all, and you figured if you don't act now, there's not going to be much more time to act later. And I want to commend you for that. Not as a commander, but as a man. And an orc. Someone who respects the old ways.
You can see Mother Harley just kind of bristles at this. Rendari is just knocking back tumbler after tumbler. Apparently, she's just her way of dealing with stress is either dealing with it extremely well or extremely badly. And today is not a good day for Lieutenant Kinesis.
Very well. You may leave now, Mother Harley.
And he sends off the priestess, who just kind of takes the stack of files and goes out of the room. As soon as she does, Uggle takes off his jacket and his boots and just rests and just sits back down, resting his feet on the table. And says,
I don't know about you, but that woman creeps me the hell out.
Yup.
"You don't fucking say, Commander."
Say, Kinesis, it's not a good idea to get drunk before 12 a.m. Before 12 p.m., especially because I've still got a little assignment for the two of you.
Night shift habits. Am I right, Ren?
Fuck you. The three of you just kind of laugh. You're wondering whether anyone can hear you out here, but the commander just gives you a smile and a wink and says,
Or something a bit more bastardly than that.
he takes a letter out of a letter with like it's still inside of a opened envelope. Takes it out of his blouse and hands it to Kinesis, to Rendari, who just kind of reads through it, gives both of you a quizzical look, and says, "What the fuck?" Hands it over to you. As you read it through, Argyle just kind of explains to you what's going to happen.
When I was talking earlier about how the prince wants to expand the Moroccan project beyond the city limits, first thing he wants to tackle is the Blue Forest. I assume you're familiar. It's a large coniferous forest far to the west of here, near the Red Ridge, kind of at the edge of this continent. Anyway, you're going to go there. You're going to talk with the locals, establish a foothold for the crown. Maybe one of these days we can reunite this old kingdom and make it a kingdom again instead of just a bunch of city-states. I would like us to be involved from start to finish. More importantly, I have a special assignment for the two of you, since I know you two can be trusted and you two have the resolve and the principles to deal with this sensibly. The prince has allied himself with a small retinue of adventurers. Strange as some wanted criminals. I want you to keep an eye on one of them especially.
He hands you a little wanted poster, and you can see a little, kind of grim, sorry if you can hear my awful neighbors, a sort of grim-looking, tan-skinned elf lady with serious hazel eyes and long brown hair. Another with a drow on it, with look kind of similar to the drow who beat the shit out of you. This
Right.
one's a girl. She's got a big, wide-brimmed hat and a poncho. Looks like kind of a bounty hunter type.
In order, these are the Lady Flora Stormborn and the independent Miss Farah Delisle. From outside the city and from the Undercity respectively. Both have been accused of things so much as murder, starting with burglary. I do not trust them. I do not want them near the head of our state. Do you understand?
All right.
Now, since all charges have since been dropped against them, I assume partially due to the help of the naive but good, well-meaning prince, all I want you to do is keep an eye on them. Stop them if they start doing anything suspicious, and report everything you can to me.
You got it.
You might have assumed already, but you will no longer have set shift times. This will kind of be a whole, think of it as a business trip, why don't you? Your father works at a bank, I assume you're familiar with business trips.
Yeah. I'm sure Ren is very familiar with the concept.
She started taking... she's ripped out one of her hairs and started picking her teeth with it. She's got kind of a... and she looks at me and goes, huh? Yeah, sorry. With that, he just kind of gives you an address. He tells you where your stuff is, and for the purposes of mechanics, you can add to your inventory either a half plate or a full, either a half plate plus one or a full plate plus one. A warhammer, also plus one, and a shield.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to take notes.
Additionally,
Sorry, a half plate plus one. What else did you say?
a warhammer plus one,
Yes.
and a shield.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Let me just put something in. You also get a special magic item. Which you can see is, since your old tabard kind of ripped up, you got a brand new, freshly made tabard to go along with your armor. Please add to your inventory the Marok tabard. Magical cape, rare. When your allies can see you, they have advantage on all melee attacks.
Juicy.
Ooh, that's nice.
Thank you.
That being said, we are hitting upon the hour. I say we do a short 5-minute break.
Yes.
Sick.
And when we come back, we can pick up where we left off.
All right. See you in 5.
Perfect.
I'm not going to stop recording, by the way, so if you want to get in the good bits, Auntie is going to have to edit them out later, not me.
Oh, really? Oh, god damn it.
I mean, a little bit of punishment must still be there, even though we all understand why she is not here.
Yeah, I mean, Auntie, if you can hear this, we love you. No one here is mad at you. I would be stressed either way, so I guess now I'm grateful I'm finally getting into using OBS. I hope it is still recording.
Oh,
Oh, yes, I hear that.
Orc Daddy 69 just donated 99 bits and says, "Ooh, Tear, new Orc Daddy just dropped, dude. Thanks for the donation."
Incredible. Right. I wonder if I can pause the... Oh, yeah.
I feel like at first I was like there's some resentment, and now at the second mention I'm like there's all the resentment.
Well,
I'm gonna talk to my stupid mom. Like, come on, come back.
I just picked up the recording again. I'm glad we're all having fun. So just a little, just eeny teeny recap here. Last we left off. You'd all had an entire day to prepare for the mission ahead. Now it's finally time, and you're about to board the airship. Tira will give the same chance to you. What do you think you did in like the 10 to 12 hours until your assignment started? Did you hear? Did you not hear me?
Am I expected to start?
Yeah, please tell me.
Well, I mean, this is a pleasure ship, isn't it?
It has
I
amenities
think-
that, like, yeah,
Right.
I thought the GM meant what you did before we got on the ship.
exactly.
Well, I've been told to go on a ship.
Yeah, but you also had like an entire day to prepare for it, like get any kind of business in order, get any provisions, any like tools you'd like to buy. I'd say have like an allowance of like 1,000 gold pieces to spend.
Oh, that's way too comprehensive for me. I mean, I have the shit that I have on me. I went and watered the plants of my fellow guardsmen that I started a garden with. That's what I
Yeah.
did.
Extremely good friends.
Yeah, that shared a bed at some point.
Yeah.
The history book said they were really good friends.
Best
And
friends
they were
even.
roommates.
And they were
me just-
roommates!
Let me just narrate here what happened a little bit. So, the rest of you, you spent the day like kind of wrapping up all the preparations you did, talk with any kind of friends you want to say goodbye to. Stacey, you had another talk with Dr. Yisses, who encouraged you to bring back any kind of ingredients you may find. Xiomara, you of course have the small request by Lady Saros. You'll be visiting an area just absolutely teeming with wyverns, and if you come across the scale of a blazing wyvern, to bring it over. Omni, you're watching Seo. That's it. You could have gone to the
I
census
hang out
office.
with yeah.
You could have gone to the census office as you were asked by Professor Firefall at any moment. I don't think you did. I think it's fair to say that you didn't.
Didn't I do that? I did that last time, didn't I? They gave me all the money.
We did not narrate it. No. Yosa gave you all the fucking money, and then she also gave you an assignment, a confirmation sheet was like, yeah, here, you have an appointment with the census office at 17 o'clock.
Shit.
And you
Shit, I
didn't-
definitely did not do that.
You
I
did not do
definitely
that.
did not do that.
You meanwhile, Tyr, you went over to the hospital, said goodbye to Mads. Mads still wrapped up like a mummy, but like he was happy to see you. You did the predator handshake, I assume.
I just the fact that he said happy to see you and he's wrapped up like a mummy. How did I notice that he was happy to see me?
You can see it in his eyes.
Oh yeah, of course.
See it in his
The
eyes,
tone
hear
of
it in
his
his
voice.
voice. You know, he sounds kind of reedy nowadays, but you're hoping he'll be back to his old hands himself eventually.
I gave
Think
him the
about-
tiniest little nod that I
Tiny
could.
little nod.
Yeah.
Mads, you know, has never had the strongest constitution. He was one of the war mages at the guard. Like he's a combat wizard. Also kind of helped with like divination and just kind of predicting where crime might happen. He's also a really good talker. Rendari immediately went off to restock her weapons supply. She's a very skilled archer, so she just got a bunch of trick arrows, like a bunch of really cool arrows on her way. You just kind of helped her carry a whole bunch of stuff up to her tiny apartment in the hearth. She thanked you for it and then just went on about preparing herself. Both of you have been relieved from your duty state, which means you're practically civilians until the evening when you have to put in your uniform and board the airship. You'll be here in a mostly protective manner, but you'll also just be passengers on the airship. Meaning, like, it will be run by, like, airship security and the crew. That being said, if there's nothing else that any of the players would like to do before we finally set off.
Could it have been possible for me to run back to my room and get the diary of my dad to take it with me? Because I think it's really easy to break into the dorms.
You would know that it's kind of hard for anyone who isn't a student to even get on campus.
Yeah,
That
better
being
be
said,
safe than sorry.
Better be safe than sorry. You grab, by all means, if you haven't already, add back into your inventory, the journal of the late Duke Fawaran. As you grab the book out of the shelf, you can see something falls out with it, namely the small, strange red gem. It seems to twinkle strangely in the light.
I'm gonna take that one too.
You feel a familiar scratching and scrabbling on your back. As Omni, you silently watch as a small white rat crawls up Xiomara's poncho and lands on their shoulder, and then immediately pokes its little snout into their face.
Have I seen the rat before?
Has Omni seen the rat before, Xiomara?
I think so too. I think I keep Lord Rattington III, the High Lord of the Rats, beautifully on my shoulder.
I definitely under my breath I say that it's nice to see you again, Your Majesty. And Omni makes a comment about Xiomara getting some light reading for the trip.
Do you at any point tell anyone what this book is? It doesn't say
No.
on the cover at all. It's just this very like tough leather binding with an eye embossed into it.
No, that's my business. They can deal with it themselves.
Give me a perception check.
What? Wait.
DC 7.
Okay.
You
where
get
are
more
you?
stressed as it gets slower because like, oh god, if I fail it now, it's gonna be really embarrassing.
Come on, roll. Please. Don't. What the fuck? Yeah. Come on. No.
What? What? No!
No.
What? No!
No, it just gives me but like D&D Beyond just gives me because of I think there was an update with the thingy that connects it to Roll20. Now it asks me if it's advantage or disadvantage, but I'm like I didn't get. Yeah, roll. Now it does. Thank you.
Fellas, it just works.
It just works right now. It just works. That's a 21.
Nice.
Omni
It's a
takes
good
50
roll.
psychic damage and dies.
Now,
Little running joke here in the game, Florian. Whenever somebody makes a reference that does me psychic damage, I joke about dealing psychic damage back to them.
yeah. The game master actually reflects all psychic damage back to the source.
All
That's
right,
right.
sick.
But then
Wait.
it's time for Porsche the Goblin.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said you
Portia
could
the Goblin's here.
Come
wait a minute,
again?
You said you could connect D&D and Beyond to the Roll20.
We can definitely
Oh,
deal
yeah,
with that
yeah,
later.
All right, cool. I thought that might take up time.
Yeah, I can show it to you afterwards. No worries.
Thank you.
Anyway, as you look upon your father's journal, You remember very distinctly that the eye kind of weirded you out the first time. It was just this open, glaring, staring thing. It's closed now.
Interesting. Okay. That's very strange, obviously.
You, any other kind of reaction do you have to that?
But I don't want to show a big reaction because there's someone right with me in this room that does not know about the journal. So I think I just frown very deeply and huff a little bit, like and just store it in my in like the inside pocket of my poncho. So that's always very close to me.
Very good. You carry on. So fasting forward to the end of the day, you are back, as I earlier described, on the premises of the Artificers Guild, or RAC as they call themselves, the RAC. Bunch of soldiers, bunch of artificers around. 3 very high-ranking officers of the guard. You can see 2 lieutenants, 1 half-elf, 1 orc commander, and another half-orc being Professor Yoza, who you, Omni, and Samara would recognize instantly. Stacy, you might have some small recollection of who this is. This is the person that brought the spell components that brought Seti back from the dead. You can remember that she's kind of quiet all the time, very reserved. Doesn't have an unfriendly face. She looks very approachable. But you could tell by the way she was always telling the Archmage that she's hiding something. Either way, Tyr, respectfully looking at the RAC, yeah. Tyr, you and your fellow commander, you behold the platoon that goes with you. You recognize.
Dude, honestly, on a whale ship like this, I would expect some squid people.
Listen, you're either a kid in this world or you're a squid, and you can't be both. You can only alternate between squid and kid.
That's right. Back in my day, there were only 2 kids. You were a kid or a squid. That's all there was.
Bro, I know this skid named Mark. Love him.
Hey, Tyr, what's your oath? Oh yeah, I'm Oath of the Squid. I use Inking Smite.
Ooh, here comes the ink.
You're hitting me with the Californian voice though. It's like, that's right, dude. Oh, the
Cowabunga!
That's the most tubular, my man.
Oh, fucking hell. Look at the platoon around you, Tara. You can see these are all guards you've seen before, kind of very hard-working folk, but also folks that never really excelled at anything. You're beginning to see a pattern here. It seems like the commander handpicked every single guard here to be somebody he trusts specifically. And these people who've never really stood out from the guard, they're probably the most reliable people to send out, and maybe also the most trustworthy. You approach Commander Firefall talking to a woman you realize must be like his twin sister. They're talking in Orcish, of course. You understand it. Rendar just kind of gives you a questioning look and says, "What are they saying?"
Well,
what are they saying? You might wonder.
I gotta listen, don't I? Like, I don't thing it.
You perk up your abominable orc ears, and what you hear is,
Yoz, you can't just keep having me run errands now that I'm in charge, you know. I love spending time with you, but you have to find more, I don't know, better ways. The Archmage must give you a day off, surely. You can see the woman just kind of boops him on the nose, which is a strange sight to behold for a commander of the guard. She says, No. If I don't have any time, are you going to have any time, Commander? And she winks at him, and he just starts looking very tired. Something you've noticed lately, a lot of guards who got promoted quite suddenly, been kind of overworked. These are troubling times, and maybe not the best times to be learning a whole new skill set, that being leadership.
boobs on the nose. Whoops.
Damn, I guess that must be really
My eyes are
close.
up here, okay?
Um,
Oh god, we're horrible today.
the woman turns to both of you. You can see she's like very well put together, very well dressed, has a very approachable face, wearing spectacles, strangely enough. And even though it's like the heat of early autumn, she's dressed neck to toe. You can see any of her skin. She's wearing like these very soft, kind of silky gloves made of like some kind of white material. And you can see her brother has just handed her something, and she does a short courtesy to the both of you and says, "Ah, hello. The commander has just informed me that you will be the leading lieutenants on this cruise, yes?"
Yes, Doctor, that's correct. Professor.
Professor. No worries. Commander Favell turns around and says,
Well, you might have. I'm sorry to make you witness to such things. This is the Professor Yusa Firefall of the University of the Royal University of Maracas. She's a professor in what did I write? In evocation. And she asked me to do a little favor for her, or rather for the Archmage, who is unfortunately indisposed at the moment.
Evocation. You can see, Yoza just kind of curtsies, and unless you have any more questions for her, she's just gonna move on to what she was doing with the letter that, her brother just delivered to her.
No, I'm gonna explain what happened to Ren in a very short way, reminiscent of what's happening in the chat. Yeah.
You suspect that there may be some nepotism, but then again, you never really spent a lot of time talking with the commander. He's kind of been in different districts, and then he just kind of rose through the ranks, and now he's mostly completely out of your reach. He doesn't seem unfriendly. You don't think his rank right now would be the result of nepotism, because you've seen him in battle. You've seen how he can lead and how he does politics. Like,
Oh, I wasn't
by all
talking
rights,
about
he's
nepotism. I was talking about the fact that they have a weird relationship and I hate it. And I'm making very uncomfortable jokes to Ren. Definitely.
How are you uncomfortable with that relationship?
Oh, no, I just saw them, like, bickering. And I'm like, well... Now I don't remember. I had something in mind. Anyways, I'm telling Ren this is
It's kind of
definitely not a
rough to
healthy
see
relationship.
somebody you've only just met who you respect greatly be put down by somebody you don't know, but you seems to have a relationship to him that you don't understand. Tyr, you're an only child. Ren is an orphan. So you both are looking at yourself like at each other like, what the hell are these people doing?
Correct.
So you think it's a skill issue?
It's definitely a skishu. Skishues aside, you're a little crackly, Florian.
I'm sorry. I'm a what?
You're crackly. Your mic is crackly.
Sorry, this happens when I don't mute myself constantly.
All right. Carrying on. You can see the commander just kind of calls to him all the guards standing around. 24 of them, as I said, pretty standard but reliable workers from all kinds of like districts. You got the Hearth, you got the Border, you got the Palace district, you even got a little bit of the University district. And they've all gathered around him in formation. You're just kind of standing right. You and Rendaria just kind of standing to the other side of him. And he starts explaining the mission. He says that in the name of the prince, the platoon is supposed to protect anyone on the airship, and once they've landed, they are to build an outpost in the Blue Forest and hold out until further notice. They're supposed to help the locals and remind the locals of who is the prince, or rather, the king, the crown, as he puts it. Kind of a complicated thing about Moroccan politics is the king is a senile 112-year-old man. Most of the governing is done by the prince, But the prince is not the ultimate authority, even though he does act like it on many occasions. Unless you have any further questions regarding that, I'm going to quickly carry over to...
I have one.
Yes.
What am I protecting the guests on the ship from? The travelers. Wait. I'm just here, right? Am I protecting them from each other, or am I giving any further information?
Give me an insight check, why don't you?
It's a 6. Oh, I fucked myself. Give me a second. That's a 7, actually.
With a 7, well, you've got some pretty good bonuses all around. With that, you think on this for a moment. You thought about earlier what the commander said about being what it means to be a servant of the law, and that chaos doesn't seem to be like an event or like an entity. It's just an ever-present aspect of life. You remember something you swore back when you took up arms and became a paladin. You will protect the innocent, and you will protect the ancient rights, whatever happens. And even if you need to protect them from themselves, so be it.
Sick. Carry on.
Long answer to your very short question, but welcome to me GMing, I guess. Omni and Shamara. You see a familiar face approach you as Yosa comes towards you. Kind of a neutral expression on her face, which wouldn't be that bothersome to you, but you know that usually she has a pretty friendly face. She looks disapproving you at both of you. She hails you and hands a little. She observes a little envelope in her hand, ruffles her forehead, almost gives it to Omni, and then just gives it to you, Shamara. Alright, there you go.
Don't be mean, Max. Don't Omni. Don't be mean, Omni. Don't be mean.
No, I think I just look at her and I push back Lord Wettington the Third, High Lord of the West, a little bit, because I know that he's a really, really big flirt. I just look at her and go, "Thank you."
She hands you an envelope and says, then there you are. Vico sends their regards. This is the official approval of Omni's stay in Marocco as a fully fledged citizen. I didn't know what to put as your last name, so we just left that blank for now. That being said, as you can see, the official address has been entered as the dormitory next to yours, and for the foreseeable future, there will be no trouble with the census office. You may consider this a favor.
Thank you, Fireball. It is good to see that.
One moment. Are you misremembering her name on purpose?
Is it not Fireball?
Firefall.
Firefall! Oh, could you imagine?
so funny.
Okay. All right. You know.
Listen, it would have been really funny because she's an evocation wizard, and like evocation wizards, all they do is hurl fireballs.
This is. I almost want to just leave that in character, honestly.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking you. Do you want to just leave it in character?
Oh, what a coinkydink. Miss Fireball, I must say, it is good that we can at least see each other eye to eye. Though I must
You
say,
say
what an
that
odd
as
thing
she
to ask.
looks down on you. She's like a whole, like 6 feet tall.
What an-
You're like 5
What an
nothing.
odd thing to say, to ask for my last name. If I knew what my last name would be, it means that I would know when I would end. What a strange thing to say. My current name will do for now. Thank you.
She wants to say something that just nods. You can give me an insight check if you want. Otherwise, she's just going to take her leave.
You know it. She's shielding with the I'm so sorry it had to be this way. Insight is -1. Let's go, baby. All right.
I figured it would be.
All right. RD20 -1.
Yes.
No. There you
Our
go.
1d20, yeah.
I rolled a 0, baby. Let's go.
You got a critical failure.
So much for having an approachable face.
So here's what Omni sees. That nod, that's a concession. She's sworn herself to you, basically. That she just did this for you without you having to do anything. That just means that she's your ally now. That's what it must mean. You found a true
Everyone in this
friend in
realm-
Professor Yosa Fireball.
Oh,
I guess.
Omni is touched. Everyone in this realm is just so nice. Xiomara has been nothing but helpful. Even that little rat, just skitters and makes lovely little sounds. We're surrounded by so many people skilled in their arts. This is really like a dream. Omni looks at Miss Firefall as she walks away. Omni's heart a little lighter than before.
Before she does leave, she does give the one final look over to Lord Rattington and gives a little squeaking sound with like the back of her tongue, like. And your rat seems a little excited at that. And she
Stop
leaves.
flirting with my rat.
Are you saying that out loud?
She speaks rat.
No, I think I
Well,
don't say it aloud.
actually, that's how
Speak
she
with
communicates
animals.
with the
Speak with
Archmage.
animals is not a hard spell to learn for a wizard.
Yeah. But can
I can speak with
can I
animals.
yell something else after her?
You want to yell after her, or you just want to pull her aside and talk with her real quick?
No. I don't want to talk to her. I just want to yell something after her. That's completely trivial, but very demure and mindful.
I will kill you. Yes.
And I just want to yell after her, not that loud, but like loud enough. Just like, send greetings back to the Archmage. Thank you so much. And then I turn around and ignore her.
What's your tone when you say this, Shamara?
Leave a tiny bit mocking.
Come again?
A tiny bit mocking.
Well, if this was a video game, it would say at the top left corner of the screen,
Sarcastic?
Yosa will remember this.
I love making enemies.
Miss Fireball is just so nice.
Yeah.
Azri- It's so weird just having 4 players on stream. Stacy, as all of the hubbub of the rack premises kind of reaches its crescendo, what's going through the small druid's mind?
She looks up towards the massive blimp.
Yes.
She never saw something like that in real life because she
You've
lives in
seen
the
a
wood.
couple. You've seen a couple of like smaller blimps fly overhead when you were living out in
Okay,
the
but
woods.
nothing
def-
this massive up close.
Nothing this massive up close.
Yes.
I think you've been on a couple of like air gondolas throughout Morocco. Like, aviation is pretty commonplace in this part of the continent. When you were living up in Peche, you had one. When you were really small, like no more than 5 years old, you had a smaller blimp come over. It was like a high security thing, and the king was visiting with his child, whom you now serve.
Oh no, they know me. Well, this was not in character. So yeah, Stacy looks up there with fascination in her eyes, and she calls for Pellegro to come and look at the blimp as well. And afterwards, she turns to Xiomara and says, "We have to talk," like in a very certain way that Xiomara does know that there's no skittering about it. Like, if Stacy wants, she can be really determined and strict in her voice.
Seti looks at you for a moment, looks at you strangely, and says,
Not planning any shenanigans, are we?
No, just talking about secrets.
Oh, do you mind if I come along? I feel like we can trust each other. Perhaps we should.
That's why I have to talk with Chumara in private.
He nods sagely. Azizi is just talking really excitedly with all of the artificers around. It seems like he's really in his element now. Though, if you knew a little better, you might know that he resents all kind of like bourgeois organization, and like this is like the upper crust of artifice society. You can see Flora is just kind of hanging out by herself, just kind of in the shade of a nearby roof. She's going through her arrows, making sure she has everything, and you can see on her belt there's a scabbard with the long, beautiful blade she took from Goodman some days ago. If there's nothing else you would like to do, Xiomara, you can hear Stacey tell you this. Kind of just try not to be obvious about it. Of course, she has to raise her voice a little to go, just to be louder than all the hubbub going on. Finally, after you see the soldiers all just kind of leave their formation and start helping out the artificers again. You can see two of the lieutenants say their goodbyes to the commander, who leaves kind of the same way that the professor just left. And Rendari and Tyr, you're free to approach the party or help out the soldiers as kind of move around crates. As finally the ramp up to the Ariane Way lowers, and another crew of very tired, very hard-working looking artificers leave the blimp. Chief among them, it seems, the one they respect the most. Do I have an asset for this? Shoot, I don't!
Asset?
One moment. You can see one of them approaches you, very tired looking, but very like determined, also looking, gnomish woman. You can see she's kind of from the old world. She's a little too pale to be a local. Approaches you, has like dirty blonde hair, it's like cropped short, she's kind of wearing her goggles that would usually be over her eyes. She's just kind of got them slung over her head. And she approaches the party, and looks towards another group of people that is just approaching. You can see it's the prince, flanked by 3 different guards. Guards that would immediately, you would immediately notice here that these are like high-ranking royal guard. Like, these people spent their lives protecting the royal family. Among them you see the familiar Captain Enzo, who looks a little different. Unfortunately, I don't have a new asset for him. I'm just going to show you this. And they are accompanying, of course, Prince Philomena. And they approach you, the party. You can see Philo is excited to see all of you. Tyr, you can tell immediately that the royal guard standing around him are extremely anxious. You can see Captain Enzo kind of in his civilian clothes. Only one of his sleeves doesn't seem to be filled completely. He looks, for what it's worth, he looks a lot more well-rested than usual. And they approach you, the party. Philo just excitedly greets all of you, is very happy to see you all here, the party. Omni, for the first time, you see what a royal looks like in this new society. Not appointed by any kind of divine mandate, but appointed by the people mostly, though you do see the familiar, like, vestments of a follower of your aunt, Lantana. You can see the 4-pointed star. You know, there's a kind of a common theme here in the city, the 4-pointed star, the sign of Marocus, the sign of the royal family, the sign of the guard, incidentally, the sign of the goddess of war and the sun, Lantana. They kind of give you a quizzical but friendly look, and they reach out a hand to you. As they do, you can see all of the guards around him start to bow.
I wonder if I'm I'm concerned about how I ought to perform at this moment. I definitely feel myself like a fish out of water, 100%. My instinct is to take the hand, but Omni wonders. I've spent plenty of time around Xiomara, and Xiomara does not behave like the people I knew. Xiomara is like my basis for like what normal is in this setting.
Right,
Oh.
Xiomara, how do you react to the prince approaching somebody you've talked to, like, privately now? You've kind of know.
I believe I would just wait and see what happens. I'm very curious.
So you
how this
don't
will
bow,
play
you don't
out.
do anything, you just kind of stand aside.
I think I nod like slightly like in a more revert way than I would to a normal person. It's like the minimal bow that I can give. Yeah.
They grin widely as they see you just do a cheeky little bow and immediately go over to, one moment. Immediately go over to Omni, and if you don't bow or anything, they just take your hand, and you can see they're not too much taller than you. They have this very, like, traditionally handsome, elven face. You can see there's some kind of elf in there, maybe a little bit of one teeth. They mostly look like a human. These deep amber eyes, they just kind of look at you and smile as they say, yes?
No, go on, sorry.
In very slow, kind of trepidatious celestial, they say, he says, I was informed by the Archmage that you'd be joining us today. I'm so excited to be working along with you. I wish maybe one day to count you among my friends.
Omni takes their hand and replies in Celestial. Though my awakening has been unexpected, I have found myself surrounded by friends at every corner. I could not imagine a place or time in which we would not end up friends. And Omni takes the hand and kisses it.
You can see the kind of grim, bearded-looking man standing next to him, nodding, saying,
All right. Greetings. I'm Captain Enzo of the Royal Guard. This is the Royal that I'm guarding.
you can see Philo kind of smirks at that.
And I am to understand that you'll be joining the party from this point going forward.
Is that targeted at me?
Yeah, he's looking directly at you.
Okay. So I misunderstood. Forgive me. That appears to be the case. Yes. Please have patience with me. I am not from here. Though I must say, this ship, this world, your people, your leader, it's all so wonderful, like a dream.
Yeah, right. And what kind of dream it is?
Shakes her hand too, very curtly, nods.
I also kiss his hand.
You can see he only gives you his right hand. His left arm seems to be kind of loose. You can see there's no hand poking out of his sleeve. He gives a little groan. He's like,
Right. That's like a custom where you're from, I reckon.
he doesn't know what to do. He takes her hand up to his mouth and gives it a kiss. You can feel his lips are very dry and chapped. And as soon as you look at him, you kind of notice that despite his, like, deflection, despite his humor, he's extremely tired. You would know, Tyr, that he too has just been promoted to the rank of captain, and more than that, he seems to be really close with the prince, which puts him into a very, like, stressful situation. You know that he was an adventurer before he became a guard. You also know
Before
that
he
he was
took
the
an arrow
one.
to the knee.
You also know that he was the one who informed the old commander that the siege, the planar vortex, was over. Seems seems pretty cool. He seems pretty aspirational. You know, Ren is a big fan of his.
Yeah, I know.
And as soon as he's done talking to Omni, he goes over to your lieutenant. He salutes you. And waits for you
Saluting
both to
back,
salute. You both
obviously.
salute back. You can see Ren is trying very hard that she's really excited. Is trying to hide really hard that she's excited right now.
Yes. I try not to acknowledge it. She can deal with it.
She's a grown woman.
Yes.
She's a big girl. Fun thing, you as an orc, you age a lot faster than most people. She's a half-elf. She hasn't aged much at all ever since you've met her, so she's just kind of been stuck at this like 19 to 21-year-old being, while you're like a fully grown adult who's kind of done with life, mostly, to an extent.
Yeah.
Let me just see, need to add something real quick. So many assets I could have added earlier, and then I got completely thrown for a loop. Where are you? And I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Don't blink 182 me at this night.
We summed 41
Cannot
earlier, and you
sleep.
weren't even there.
I will have you know that anytime I'm in my brother's car and that song comes up, he says, "Everyone, please stand up for the anthem," and we put our hands on over our chest.
Perfect.
Where
That's
are
funny.
you?
No.
And then it's all the small things.
Right.
Are you
By the way, you
feeling
should be
this?
seeing another portrait right now.
Yes.
Great. He steps over to the two of you, says, Right.
So, have you been told the news yet? Well, don't just look at me.
he looks at
Oh.
you kind of aghast.
What? I muted myself in the wrong moment. I said what news?
Come again?
I said what news?
Oh, you're a sharp one, aren't you?
He kind of smiles at you.
Right. Sorry, I'm not feeling myself right now. Lost a little bit of weight lately.
This guy chuckles to himself. He had 2 arms the last time you saw him. He doesn't seem to have that anymore. You're wondering what happened.
Arm got lost.
Did you say that out loud?
I'm thinking that to myself. Like, you're not looking too good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel worse, but thanks. Right. Here's the thing. This is extremely important to the prince. You've both recently been assigned quest extremely important to the continuation of the city and the crown. You of course know about our friend from the old world who you thankfully retrieved, and you, Lieutenant Kinesis, are familiar with another thing. That being said, we don't know what expects us on this airship ride, but there's a storm coming in. And if I know anything about living in Marocos, a storm usually means monsters. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
And remember who your loyalty is to first.
He gives you a very serious look, kind of like on the portrait as you're seeing it right now.
I'm giving him a very serious look back.
He starts smiling and says,
Right! I gotta go back and take a rest. I just came here to say goodbye to the party. Very well, you know what to do.
he salutes you once more. As he leaves, you can see Rendari turns to you and gives you like the biggest eyes. Says, kind of like, oh my god, he talked to us.
Probably should have given her an opening to talk to him, but didn't feel like it.
She was too excited. Stacy, Roberta sees you and Seti kind of standing next to each other. I'm assuming you're kind of standing near Shomara, just kind of talking about the day and what's going on. And he approaches, you, Stacy, and goes for a hug.
Oh, Stacy lets Roberto hug her.
He kind of gets on one knee. It's an one-armed hug, and you can tell he's kind of weakened by the recent events. Seti gets in on the hug and says, "You smell like hospital."
Oh, sharp nose on that one. Yeah. The wife's been nursing me back to health. Really excited for me to try this new invention she's come up with. Something about my arm, but honestly, I think I could do with a little bit of weight loss. A little bit of gardening on the side, maybe. Right.
You can have a hark as an arm then.
A heart.
A hark. Hark? Hake? Isn't it this word in English?
Oh, you mean a hoe?
Okay, then a hoe. Okay. No, a hoe is
Oh,
something
yeah.
different.
Like,
Right?
hoe?
I'm a hoe.
I mean, I guess he's gonna have more time to be at home.
At home?
At home?
Wait, I have to Google this now.
That's
Na
right.
hake!
Yeah. Oh,
wait,
a
no,
He
rake.
raised his hand with a hoe.
A
A
rake!
rake.
A rake, yes. Everyone say the word for rake in their native language.
Hake!
Harke. Harke.
Maxie, you want to give it a shot?
What's the word again? A
Rake.
rake?
Rake.
Rake like the garden instrument?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Let me freaking, what the hell is it again?
El rake.
El Rake boo? I mean, it probably is El Rake. No. It's the same word for like a shaving blade. It's called rastrillo.
Rastrillo.
Yep. Same word as a shaving blade. It's kind of funny.
That makes no sense. at all.
Right, you want me to get a rastillo for my arm, huh? I guess I could do that. Could be very handy. I was kind of thinking about a shovel. I've been planting the spuds this year. Been growing very well. You know, they're about due in a couple of days now. Oh, but they'll let me keep you. You know what we've got to do? The prince trusts you, and so do I. And you know this.
Daisy nods.
And he gets back up and and looks over to Flora, who's just kind of still by herself, just kind of fletching new arrows at this point.
And keep an eye on her. I'm worried.
All right, I will do that.
He exhales through his nose and says, "Right,
Well, I better get back to bed then. Back to my hospital so I can soak up more of the good smell.
gives a stupid look over to Seti, who gives a stupid look back. Philo once again turns to you all and wishes you the best of luck, hopes that everything goes well. Apologizes that Archmage Vico couldn't be here because they were once again indisposed, though. They send their regards and they hope that in light of recent events, nothing bad comes to the party.
Alright, one more thing, says Roberto. Vicar told me to tell you to tell Seti to put on lotion about once a week. And it might heal shot if he does.
He kind of looks up at Seti, who has a massive, crack on his face, kind of like broken marble, but it's right through his skin. And Seti just gives a thumbs up.
It puts lotion on its skin.
And the Royal Guard, along with Roberto and Philo, leave. You can see the very busy-looking artificer talking to a fellow artificer as she turns to you. She gives a very curious look over to Azizi, something that's not quite a smile, and then turns to the rest of you and says, "Well, good evening. My name is Frida Hull. I am the vice captain of the ship, the head engineer, and I will be glad to answer any questions you have before we enter the ship, and I'll be available for any kind of questions you could have during the ride." You can see she has this emblem on her jacket. The racks, star beams, and wrench. Anyone want to know what rack actually means, or are we just gonna keep joking about boobs?
So you should tell us what it means, and then
No.
we can keep joking about boobs.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no reason why we can't do both.
No.
¿Por qué no los dos?
No. Anyway, rack of course means of course, because I've said it before. Rack is the Royal
Royal
Artificers Company.
Association. Oh, I
Royal
thought like
Artificers Company.
Royal Association of whatever with
You know
seats.
that those who've lived in Morocco, which I think at this point is just Tyr and Seti, would know that the Artificers Guild had went some management changes in like the recent 12 or so years, when like the new guild master decided that he wanted to restructure the guild into like its own kind of union and corporation. And in cooperation with like the city council and the crown, it was turned into the Royal Artificers Company. Of course, a lot of people just call it the guild. They refer to themselves as the RAC, and they've just been mostly responsible for like all the infrastructure. If you're familiar with the Ravnica setting, they're kind of the the semi-combine inside of this world. They're not doing experiments on people yet, but it's only a matter of time.
I got that reference.
It was just for you.
I've been just sent back 10 years for that reference.
She talked to you as well, to Rendari and Tyr, and you're just all free to ask any kind of questions you could have about the ride.
Are there enough rations on the ship?
Yes, of course. The kitchen is fully stocked. We serve 2 square meals a day. Breakfast, I'm afraid, will have to be your responsibility. The cook will be happy to cook anything for you as long as you're nice to him. He's a bit of a curmudgeonly, the guy.
Right. How long are we going
Omni
for?
has no clue what the shape of the meal has to do with it, but okay.
She gives a quizzical look over to you and says, well, you're not from around here either. Yeah, I still have to get used to the vocabulary too. Moroccan is a strange language.
All right. How long are we going for?
How long are we going for? If all goes well, we won't be in the air for longer than 3 days.
All right.
With that, and
Are
Do
there
we have-
hot men on this ride?
a hot man on this ride. I'm assuming you don't say that out loud. You kind of think it to yourself like, "Oh God, please don't tell me it's all just these greasy, these greasy, muscular, hard-working types." So no, I'm going to perish.
I need me a twink. I'm sorry.
If no one else has any more questions, I think we're gonna fast forward to you boarding the ship after the break.
Yay!
There's a break?
Yippee.
Right now,
break?
5 minutes.
I haven't yet.
Well, speaking of I need to and I haven't yet, let's get to all the things we haven't done this session yet. Like getting on the fucking airship.
Yes.
We are just always gathering around it, looking at it ominously.
Won't we get on the plane?
After you talked with Vice Captain Hall, she was kind of hesitant to talk about the actual captain of the ship, a man called Alphonse Weisstetter. He's kind of a nebulous figure. You know, obviously he's the chairman of the RAC. He's the guild master of the Artificers Guild. Seems to you that no one has ever actually seen him. He always sends like a representative to the council meetings, because you know the council is made up of all the guild masters, the captain, the commander of the guard, the king, the prince, and the archmage. Never showed up. So, oh, Chip is very loud. One moment.
Please let the captain be like a tiny gnome, please.
What you do know
No
is that
one's
he,
seen what they look like.
what you
the
do
door
know
opens
is
and
that
it's just a little
he,
guy.
much like Hall here, is from the old world. He migrated like 150 years ago. From a let me remember what the nation is called. Yeah, this would
The
be
Fire
the
Nation.
this would be the Volpine autarchy. Kind of has like a fox emblem. Very hardworking people, very industrious. They've kind of decided that they don't really want anything to do with like guilds or kings and a whole while ago, and now they're just kind of doing their own thing. They're just kind of living by themselves in this kind of nationwide commune, and they're more interested in science than war, so people mostly leave them alone. A lot of people from there come over to Maracas because Maracas doesn't have many strict laws on what can be researched and what can't. Hall and Weichstätter seem to be two of those people. You can see there's a bunch of like gnomes across in the Artificers Guild here. Lots of like tiny artificers with like skin and hair colors that would kind of betray them to be like immigrants. That being said, you finally move upon the ship. As you can see here, we have 6 sections you can visit across the airship. First you will be shown to your passengers' quarters. You can see they have all the amenities you could ask for. They have like fires that kind of work with a light switch where it must be some kind of thaumaturgic process to create a light. They have heated water, they have running water, there's like a whole bathroom in there in every single passenger quarter. A big window so you can look out over the landscape below. With some shutters as well, in case you want to get some shut-eye. Speaking of which, the coppery glow of the evening slowly turns into the deep indigo of the night as a gibbous moon rises up above you. Yeah, it would be gibbous. Waning gibbous. How many more times will I say that word? You're kind of free to explore. It's easy. You can see immediately starts just running around, talking to as many artificers as possible, trying to look at all of the technology you can find. What you can see is, what you can hear rather is, there's always some kind of noise coming from the pipes, which you assume to be irrigation and heating. The thaumaturgic lights always give us a soft buzzing, and there's always the gentle humming and rattling of the engine, which you can see back here in at the end of the ship. You can see the main part of the ship is, of course, only like the kind of gondola that's hangs at the bottom of the big blimp, which you've been told is filled with some kind of gas that is lighter than air, which seems curious to you. Not to you, Xiomara, you know a little bit about artificing and the kind of conjuration and abjuration that's required to make it all work. And yeah, you can see the ballroom, which is right underneath the bridge, is also where the eatery is, where you would be able to get any kind of food, any kind of like meal you want. That's also where most of the guards are now gathered. You see some of them have now taken off their uniforms, they're in civilian clothes. They've kind of broken their fast. You can see Rendari is kind of among them, just kind of chatting up with the platoon, making sure everyone is doing alright, nobody is getting airsick. You can spend a couple of hours in the airship. Those of you who've never traveled by air, this may be a little unfortunate for you. This may be a little like something to get used to by now. Everyone except Omni, please give me a Constitution saving throw.
Alrighty.
Holy shit. You're telling me you have no modifier to your Constitution and you want to be our tank?
Wait, hold up. What?
How
Do
did
you
I-
have no con bonus?
No, there
I
you
do.
go.
I have
there
a
you go.
+4.
All right. I'm gonna
Okay,
stay with the
okay.
crit. I'm gonna stay with the crit for you.
Wait, why did I? Well, hold on.
You rolled a
What?
singular d20 before you rolled your new roll, which was a natural 20.
I
Without
really
any
didn't. I
modifier.
used the dice roller tool, and I pressed it once.
Very well. Con save. Got a 13 and an 8. Cool, so you definitely retreat to your quarters rather soon. Just kind of buy yourself in the bathroom. Just kind of hope that it's all over soon. Xiomara, you after like an hour or so, you notice immediately that you need to sit down. Omni, you don't know what the problem is. Then again,
Yeah,
the
everyone-
heavens are
everyone's
your
just tired.
home, so to speak. So nothing really bothers you. Tyr, taking it like a champ. There's nothing that bothers you. In fact, you get the strong feeling that after you've left all your luggage in your own quarters, you can go and get some work done.
Sick.
I do want to say that if Xiomara feels like throwing up, I hold their hair so that they can do what they need to do.
What
Friendship?
a fucking friend. Right, crew. What are you doing?
I'm gonna go and find Ren.
Find Ren.
Just gonna.
You find Ren in the ballroom, kind of sitting next to a guard. This heavyset dwarven man who you've never really seen in a bad condition. He doesn't seem to be taking the air travel well. He's just kind of
course, he's a
sitting.
dwarf.
Come again?
I say this out loud.
Yes.
I see him being kind of green, and I say to myself, I say, of course, he's a dwarf.
Of course, he's a dwarf. Ren kind of looks at you and gives you, kind of rolls her eyes at that. And she says, "Hey, Tyr, I think I'm going to take all the. I think I'm going to order some rest for like half the platoon. The rest can keep patrolling the ship, make sure nothing gets on or off. Not that I expect anything, but never can be too careful.
Right.
What are you doing in the meantime?"
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna check everything out. I think the bridge, ballroom, quarters, and engine are kind of figured out. I kind of want to see if there's anybody checking out the observation deck. Do you want to join me later on?
Yeah, sure. Sargas.
Cool.
And she hollers over to a human who is just finishing his like a ricey stew kind of dish, and he's like,
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
"You're in charge. Everyone listen to what Sargas says. Me and the lieutenant are going to check out the observation deck, make sure there's no miscreants up there." "Ma'am, yes, ma'am." And everyone gets to it, just following everything that Sargas says. Sargas is like kind of a young guy for being a guard, but he's reliable. He does his job exceptionally well, but then again, he never really strives for any kind of promotion. He's just happy doing what he does.
Perfect.
So, you go up to the bridge, find it strangely not busy with artifice at all. You see a bunch of automaton, just kind of like 7 feet tall humanoid figures made of like silvery metal cogs and armor plates. You can see they each have like a visor in front of the face, modeled to look like a porcelain doll face. And they each give you like a small buzzing sound as a matter of greeting. You can see there's a small diminutive gnomish man, long black shaggy hair, kind of hunched over the console, and you can hear him loudly say, "I said no visitors." Oh, the guards, right? Are you lost or something?
No means to bother you. Just on our way to the observation deck, checking everything out.
Shit, right. Well, as you can see there, the lift is right over there. Do be sure to avoid the bridge in the future. This whole navigation process can be quite a handful. Right, off you go then. Before you can really respond to that, the automaton just kind of usher you out. Rendari doesn't quite know how to react. You reckon this is the first time she's really interacted with an automaton. In fact, it might be the same thing with you. You take a lift through the blimp up to the observation deck. There's a small, observation window inside the lift. You can see the inside of the blimp is lit. It is truly vast. It's like a big balloon. With some turbines inside. Nothing too exciting. You can see a couple of like more automaton working on the inside, making sure it's all well maintained. You can see one very quickly sewing up a little hole that had formed in the outer hull. I guess it would be welded, yeah. And you come up to the observation deck. You can see it's very vast. It's got some benches on it, so you can sit down. It's got some telescopes that are set in place. You find a couple of like artificers just having a smoke up here, just kind of on break, and they wave at you. As you continue above this, over the through the skies over the continent, you can see Maracas, this big tower of a city, slowly shrinking into the distance until there's nothing left.
All right. Hey, Ren, did I ever tell you I had a thing for back when we were in the city?
Come again, please.
Wait, did you actually not hear what I said, or?
Yeah.
Oh. I just told Ren, it's like, hey, did he know I had a crush on Mads when we were still in the city? Down
She
there.
gives you a strange look. Says, "I mean, yes, of course."
What do you mean, yes, of course? I kept that secret, didn't I?
Well, she kind of smirks to herself. Obviously, we didn't. We were waiting for you to tell us, but you weren't exactly hiding it either, and I respected that. You know, I respected your
Shit.
privacy. What? Tear, don't get heartbroken now. I think you two are lovely together. You have great chemistry.
Don't ever respect my privacy again.
She gives you a questioning look. Tear,
Anyways,
is the air maybe getting a little thin here?
yes, I feel sick. Let's get back down.
Well, that was a pretty short patrol. When you get down through the lift, you notice there's actually like a little ladder right around here. You can take that just kind of goes like on the outside of the blimp. There are some safety railings that do seem a little. It would be safer to take the lift again, but if you want to be really sure, you can go on the outside.
All right.
Go through the outside. Give me a perception check.
I'm sorry, I will be slow.
Don't ever respect my privacy again.
That was so good.
Shit.
You notice nothing particular in the black night sky. You got some heavy overcast. There's a small trickle of rain coming down. And suddenly, one gives you a nudge and points at something in the sky. Could be a cloud moving strangely, but you do see a shadow moving very quickly out of the sky, out of the cloud cover, and right back into it. Not quite sure what it might be. We continue back to the inside of the ship. Stacy, what are you doing?
After washing her face, she talks with Pellegro that Pellegro should go and find Humara because there's still business to do. And while waiting on the return of Pellegro to tell her where Humara is, does Stacy know how air sickness works?
Yeah, you know that you should you know the procedure. You know what kind of position to take. You know that it's good to like sit still for a while, kind of get used to the movement, maybe lie down for a bit. Keep drinking water as per usual. You can see you have running water. You can just fill up a little glass from the sink.
My idea was just if she knows how the physics work, I would cast Druidcraft on myself to counterweight the movements, which irritate the inner ear, and then be fine.
See, here's the thing. You, Stacy, know lot more than me, Siska the GM knows. Yeah. Medicine, please.
A medicine check. Let's see.
By the while,
By the whale.
Fuck you!
But, I mean, we're in the whale.
It was a Freudian slip. I was looking at the whale. I'm like, by the way,
Oh, with the Florian slip. Yes, let's go.
I'll fucking kill you.
Welcome
Right.
to the force, Florian. Here's
Thank
your gun
you.
batch.
Welcome to
Oh,
the
hell yeah.
welcome to the square.
This is Disco Elysium all over again.
By the way, Peligro, you give him the order to go find Shamara, and he zips down the corridor that you're staying on. You are crackling again, brother.
My apologies.
This guy, I tell you, this
Is it
fucking
better?
guy. Yes. You cast Druidcraft on yourself. Immediately gone. Feel much better.
Perfect.
So, are you waiting for Shamara to come to you, or are you going to go to them?
No, Stacy decides that it's time to take matters in her own hands and approach Shumara.
So, you can see Peligro zip down the hall. Speaking of which, Shamara and Omni, I'm assuming you just kind of you both got different quarters, but Omni just kind of hang around Shamara's quarters on account of
How far away are our quarters? Is it like a hotel where there's like a door between our two rooms and I can just walk in?
Sure, why not?
Let's go. Yeah,
Very nice.
It's just like at the academy. We're roommates.
Yay!
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah,
Vico
oh,
might have pulled some strings to make you be next to each other again.
yeah. Unless Yamara is purposefully like asking me to not follow them, I'm sticking to them. We're attached at the hip.
That's
Well,
all right.
That's all right with you. You can see Rattington is kind of scratching at the door to your quarters. I'm assuming you're kind of doing some light reading, going through your notes. The door opens. A small hamster you would recognize as Peligro comes in and starts sniffing at Rattington. Rattington sniffs the hamster back, and then gets up to look at you.
I think I put my book away, like very diligently, put it on my little nightstand.
What are you reading, by the
Um,
way?
Okay, wow, what am I reading? I believe it is what I have found somewhere on this little airship, a scientific history of airships.
You do, but it's kind of thin. This whole aviation business is no older than 50 years.
Okay, I'm reading that. I'm very disappointed it's only so thin because I'm very interested in how everything works.
It's not that it's not comprehensive, it's just there's not a lot of history.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I will be done with that in like a day. Then,
You follow the two rodents as they zip along the hall, and in this kind of like, let's call it a lounge, this little alcove into the corridor. You can see there's like a reading table, a couple of couches, like a couple sets of board games that you can play, and of course this large like panorama window to one side of the lounge that looks out over the landscape. And you can see Stacy's already waiting there.
I believe Omni is following me. Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
Can I see from our position if Stacy is kind of like a little bit put off of us two arriving?
Stacy? Stacy, do you have a problem
As
with
of now,
Omni
I
being
think
there?
Stacy did not like perceive Omni because they are so small.
They're pretty short. They're pretty short.
And basically Stacy is still in her head, probably thinking about Flan while waiting there. So right now she's like dreaming of Flan. So you don't really see a reaction towards you two.
The two of you approach
Alright.
Stacy. Stacy, Omni, have you in the meantime interacted with each other, like introduced each other?
No,
I don't
we
think we
haven't.
have.
Because we could just say that you did that like off screen or something, but sure, then I'm just going to leave this to the three of you. How this plays out.
Okay, I'm just gonna start, I think we walk up and I just look at you, Stacy, in this case. I'm like, yes, I believe your hamsters called us here.
You see Stacy snapping out of her daydream, and she's a little bit confused at first, but then she gathers back her composure, and she's like, "Ah, yes, perfect, good. Peligro is really trusty, isn't he? Um, who 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 is this long-haired child next to you, Xiomara?"
Not a child. This is our new teammate, comrade, friend, potentially. And I turn over to Ami. You would introduce yourself.
Is this... Are you also... Does the Archmage also have you on a leash?
Stacy tilts her head and is like, "Vico? No. No.
Huh.
No.
I guess it's just the two of us then. You're still working
Short
for them, though.
question.
Are you not?
Stacy, what do you think is your what do you think are your thoughts on the Archmage in this moment?
My thoughts are mixed. On the one hand, the Archmage wanted us to help, and they provided us help. And on the other hand, they keep the blue lamp for themselves, which Stacy determines to be better handled in a group. So she has very, very mixed feelings, but she has not yet decided which way to go. So she's not fully trusting towards Rico, but also not fully against them.
All right, carry on.
Okay, good. Where were we in game just now?
I think Omni
The
was going to.
question put me
I think Omni was about to go off on a rant on how big of a dickhead the Archmage is.
Okay, so no, the Archmage has no leash over me. I'm a druid, so I'm no wizard.
Thank you.
And you also happen to be the master for this here, Lord Hamster?
I would not say master. We are more like friends. The matriarch gave Peligro to me to keep protection over. Like
Peligro, you say?
You can hear
Yeah.
What
you
an
can
what
hear
an odd name.
you can hear the hamster gives a little squeak at that.
What does its name mean?
Stacy tilts her head again and is like, interesting. I have never thought about it myself. I just took it for granted.
You think about for the moment that you have a hamster named Danger. Of course, you've had hamsters before. You know they're not to be scoffed at. They have tremendous capability of violence. You mostly think about him as very kind and sweet and useful, and he has very chubby cheeks.
And with a good appetite.
He's got a good appetite.
I don't want to say that Omni was testing Stacy this whole time, not at all, but definitely, the vibe seems pretty good, and if Xiomara likes Stacy, then Omni does as well. Realizing they have not in fact introduced themselves, the name is Omni, just Omni. And Omni stretches their hand forward, and what is your name?
Stacy takes the hand of Omni and says, "I'm Stacy Vale. Nice to meet you. But you're not a child, right? I was misconceived."
No,
We
Miss
are all the
Cornelia.
child
not
of
a child.
somebody.
We are all the child of someone. I'm the child of the moon, but nonetheless, Stacy. So many odd names here.
With that, Stacy turns toward Xiomara and says, "We have something to talk about. You know, our thing in the vault." And then she gives a little wink because she knows Xiomara is not too fond of revealing her secrets, but Stacy definitely wants to talk about that.
I mean, they're secrets.
Oh yes, sorry, they're secrets.
Well,
I simply nod and I turn towards Omni. Do not take this as a rejection, but would you be so kind to make yourself scarce for a few moments? I believe what we have to discuss is incredibly personal, and I would like it to be private.
Uh. So, am I to do what exactly? Look after the rat and the hamster now?
you hear two squeaks.
I believe they wouldn't be opposed to that, but you are, I believe you are capable to do whatever pleases you.
Surely you mean a truly private conversation. You would not want their little ears catching your secrets.
You can see Rattington's ears kind of pick up. Well, in that case,
Rettington the Third, and I turn to Rettington the Third, the High Lord of Threats, and I go, Rettington, my sweet little boy, would you be so kind and stay with your new
guardian
companion
parent
for the moment? I wanted to say aunt, but I was like, this is truly an aunt. With your new guide for a moment, I will pick you back up.
Do I have to do animal handling, or do you think Rattington just knows me and just
No,
gets
here's
on my
the
shoulder?
thing.
Oh,
Rattington is not a rat. He is a familiar. Specifically, he's a minor fiend, transformed to look like a rat. He takes to you immediately. Like he really likes your vibe. Peligro, is a little bit slow. He just kind of keeps his distance while following you. He has no problem like keeping up the pace. Like you can tell he's a very fast little hamster. But yeah, you go back down the hall to in the direction of your quarters.
Oh, I actually, if I'm exiting the scene, can I just, I take the two little guys and I say that we're gonna go examine what these meals are so square about.
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, we go down to the to whatever the eating is, and we're gonna check out these square meals.
Peligro is in favor of the meals.
Peligro gets
wants to be
a small
included.
hint of food and immediately warms up to you a lot more. Exeunt Omni, we're gonna keep continuing with Stacy and Shamara.
So, with Omni out of the way, Stacy gets really open about it and says, "Okay, Xiomara, I know you have a secret. I promise
we
to
all?
keep it. Yes, the thing is, I have a secret too." And you slowly see Stacy transform to her dragon form, and then slowly back again. And Stacy says, "As you see, I'm a dragon. I know you will use it for your advantage. But keep in mind, I know your secret. But I think as a group, it's better you know who I am. And the thing is, the more power I use from my draconic side, the issue is I might lose myself. So here it is. I'm powerful, but at what cost?"
Can I look
please
around
give
if
me
anybody's listening in?
You can give me a perception and an insight check. Basically, what you see
Of
when
course.
Stacy shows you her truer form Like she's covered, like her skin takes on this very like metallic, silvery quality. Her eyes become slitted and like a bright kind of icy blue color. And you can see there's budding horns on like her forehead and her face. She doesn't at all look like sick or like mutated or even like corrupted in any way. It looks very natural to you. Okay, let me see what kind of checks we have here. Inside, 16. Realize there's a truth to what Stacy is saying. She's offering you a little bit of vulnerability, hoping you can give something back. Either way, you realize if you're going to stick together as a group, and in fact, after already having stuck together for so long and through so much, it seems to you that, as I said last session, the biggest asset you have is each other. Whatever you want to do with that information. With a perception. You see the hint of a shadow at the edge of the panorama window. It seems to be on the outside. Why do you have a +6 to perception?
Because
because it gave you expertise, right?
Yeah.
Do you want my plus of perception?
Like what, 12?
Almost. No,
Almost.
just kidding. Here, I roll for you. Oh no, I think you don't see it in the roll, right?
Right,
Wow,
anyway,
the roll.
you see the smallest shadow of something in the panorama window. Just barely. Could be a cloud. It is getting very dark outside at this moment.
I store the shadow in the back of my mind. I appreciate that you can be so forward about your secrets and that you trust me with them. You know me quite well, as I just noticed. You know that I look out for myself first and then for others if it pleases me. But I would be more comfortable to tell and possibly show you if we are not so out in the open. As I must be honest with you, I have not really dealt with it myself yet. And I believe it will be left best between us very strictly.
Stacy nods understandingly. I thought that this would be your answer. It's okay. I'm a good secret keeper. But keep in mind, secrets are also weaknesses. They are not only strengths.
Of
And
course.
I am not quite sure how well I can keep my promises in the future because when I transform, I don't know what will remain of myself. The dragon who gave me the power is Nashru. But their memories seem to be mixed as well. So I need to be really cautious when using those powers to be still myself.
As
And maybe I
Stacy-
find some books about dragons.
As Stacy mentions dragons, Shamar, please give me an Arcana check at advantage.
Okay. Where is my mouse?
You want to hit a 22.
Advantage. Okay.
You can do it.
Should be easy. There you go.
Yeah.
You remember something about dragons. Dragon eggs are exceedingly rare. You don't know a single scholar who's ever seen one. You've read a single book that's maybe like 1,000 years ago somebody discovered an egg somewhere in a mountain and it was dead. That doesn't mean that there are no dragons, however. There are dragons aplenty. Because the main way that a dragon continues its own existence, continues its species, is since they're not entirely like mortal creatures, but something else, something more, eternal, something akin to an elemental, though not quite as, though a great deal more intelligent. they pass their essence down to another being who absorbs the essence, becomes a dragon themselves, and incorporates their own kind of like being. This is what you believe has happened to Stacy. That some ancient dragon has basically chosen her to be her successor, to become the next dragon. And when she saw what she tells you about Nashtu's memories not entirely being her own either, you get the strong idea that Nashtu herself used to be like a dragon in the ancient time, a druid in the ancient times, who herself was approached by a dragon to carry on her legacy.
Very interesting. I'm still writing this down if Stacy wants to say more.
Stacy just goes on and is. You are quite the bookworm, right? Maybe when you come across some books, it would be good to read upon them. For me.
I will, of course. We are still out in the open, right?
Yes,
What?
we are still.
Okay.
Here's
Can
what
I
here's,
just-
here's the kind of the situation
Yeah.
that you find yourself in. You are in the lounge. There's no one else in the corridor. Like Omni's left. There's no noise coming down from any of the halls. It's getting night outside, and the lamps that are like set into the ceiling of this corridor just kind of start slowly dimming. The shadow at the edge of the window hasn't moved.
Okay, wait, I need to roll a d20 for something real quick.
You want to tell me? You don't want to tell me what
If
you're
I-
rolling?
If I take off my ring, yes or no?
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Do it. Please, d20, roll.
Once again, need to see if I have an asset for that.
Wait, how is it in Roll20? It's R slash or slash R?
/R, space,
Yeah.
and then D20.
Yeah.
It's an even number.
Oh shit, that hits. Okay, I take off my ring.
Right.
Wait. When
As-
Stacy sees the movement,
Wait,
she
one moment.
takes her hand on Xiomara's hand and stops her.
Oh, you want to stop Sumara from taking off the ring?
Yes.
Right. We're gonna pick up there in a minute. Omni, you only wait at the ballroom. You see a bunch of guards just leaving, just kind of giving you quizzical looks, some of them smiling, some of them frowning. You come into the ballroom, you see the kitchen is still quite busy. Though all seems to be done by a single chef.
A single chef.
A single cook, a provisioner you would call them back in the Celestial Army.
Do I catch a glimpse of them as the doors of the kitchen, the waiters are coming in and out? Maybe.
Sure, one moment. Nope. I just need to find if I had any additional notes about the chef. No. Just
No
see a
worries.
very hardworking, kind of middle-aged gnomish man. He's got the chef hat. He's got the robes. Well, you can see he has like a little
A
floppy.
big stool,
He has
I
like
must assume.
Come again?
A big stool, I must assume.
He's got like a step ladder to like get into the pots that may be a little big to him. A little ladder to get into all the shelves, but like this is like mostly a vessel operated by gnomes, so everything is already constructed to be a little lower than usual. So he doesn't really have a lot of problems navigating through the kitchen. That being said, you don't think he would need the help? He seems like he could just jump up there and just grab everything and then carry it so safely that it wouldn't crush. You noticing the thing you noticed before, that mortals have such a drive to supersede their own limits that you can't help but admire.
The way they gorge themselves on the food is just, it's delightful, you know? Well, one might think winter's just around the corner.
As you think that to yourself, you can hear on the glass panes surrounding the ballroom, hail is beginning to tap on the windows. You can hear some guards swearing to themselves, some gathering around the window, one of the windows, just pointing outside, being like, "Oh my God, can you believe it? At this, the middle of April." What do you do specifically? Do you approach the chef?
I think is this kind of like I must assume this kind of like a cruise ship kind of thing. They have like the food, you know, they have like the food like lined up maybe.
Yeah,
Do we have
yeah.
to request food, or is it just literally just like, you know, like a buffet?
You can take some of the things they've prepared. You can see it's some kind of red meat stew with rice, a bunch of veggies. It smells really nice. You can tell there's a lot of love and work put into it. There are like 7 meals laid out, and you can see he just did them in the past minute.
Hot damn, that's pretty good.
Again, this
Um,
gnome, he works.
He's working it.
He's working
Uh, I allow Rattington and Peligro to guide me towards whatever plate seems the tastiest for them. I'm not too hungry myself. I just want to get them a little snack. The two little guys, you know. I like them. I like them. I'm going through my Disney princess era right now.
Um, Reddington points his little nose over at the over at a plate of just cheese. It's kind of lying out there. You can see one of the guards sitting at the one of the tables to just kind of prepared himself a little like some bread and just putting some cold cuts on it. And some of them is like a cheese.
Wait,
Yeah.
is this like a charcuterie board? Would I just take the whole, like, you're supposed to just take what you want, but I just take the whole platter with me? Is that what's happening?
He's prepared himself like a little board, and you can see like besides all the like full meals that I've prepared, there's also like kind of like a buffet where you have all kinds of stuff you can just take for yourself. You can see there's a big vat full of what you assume to be some kind of peanut sauce. There's also like
I want
again
you to- I
just
want you to
many
understand-
different kinds of cheese.
Again, I want you to understand, Omni would love to just stick their finger in that. I know what it tastes like, but it's probably no one else is doing it. They don't think Xiomara would do it. They would first have to take off their gloves, which seems like a little like anti, you know, Xiomara kind of like technique. So you know, Omni grabs you know, a few things of cheese, a couple fruit here and there, and they go take a seat at
Grab
a
some
nearby table.
figs. You grab
Yeah,
what kind of
grapes.
fruits are there?
I have a faint feeling Peligro would like some grapes.
Peligro stuffs a whole grape in his little mouth. You give Lord Rattigan a little slice of cheese. He grabs it between his little between his little grubbers, and just starts nomming. As you see them eating, you feel a strange feeling in your stomach. Give me a Constitution saving throw again, please.
You got it. Constitution saving throw is +2, baby. All right, so let me grab my keyboard. I do want to say, by the way, I would like to talk to Sir Rattington, but first let's see about this Constitution check, which once again it is a +2. So 1d20 +2. Let's roll it. 10 coming at you.
Something that has rarely happened to you. You feel your stomach grumble, and a bitter taste fills your mouth. And then some kind of liquid. It appears before you can stop yourself, you start retching, and there's just a small trickle of something down from the corner of your mouth. You manage to swallow it back down before it gets all over the table, and you don't think anyone saw you. You touch the liquid that came out of your mouth, and it's thick and black and viscous. Slightly iridescent in the lamplight. Demon ichor. For a moment, you are not
I forgot
yourself,
what it
and
tasted like.
you for a moment you forget who you are, and all you can feel is the need to slaughter and devour everyone in here. The food does look a lot tastier now.
The Omni, I envision, there's like, it feels like the lights are off, and when the urge passes, suddenly the lights are so much brighter.
Yeah.
Omni reflects on, it's been a long time since they tasted that in the back of their mouth. They have that PTSD feeling of like standing on the mount full of Doom style, standing on that mount full of bodies of demons they've slayed, and standing atop a pile of so many bodies that their feet are deep into the viscera and gore of their carcasses. Yeah, thank you.
You're brought
Uh,
back to the fields of Moonscorched Regilius.
it
Only for a
feels like-
moment.
yeah, only for a moment.
You return to yourself. And you do kind of want to know what the cheese tastes like.
As I reach and grab this like tiny little like wheel of cheese, encased in some sort of red wax-like material. Omni doesn't know you're supposed to tear it off. Omni just bites into it.
Tastes good. Tastes great
It's
despite
a baby
everything.
bear.
It tastes great despite the wax. Like the wax adds a little bit of a nice like kind of like baseline alkaline flavor to it. Is nice. Omni knows that Rettington is a fiend, right? I feel like it's.
You can practically smell it. You don't feel you don't sense any kind of malice from him, similar to
No.
Shamara, who you know is a fiend.
Like it's different, because like to me, a fiend has been a very specific shape and form for a long while.
Yes.
And even then, there were the unfortunate time when people in the army of the forces of Selen did unfortunately turn against us, and they too became demons. And even then, there's been two shapes, one of which Omni has still yet to reconcile with. So seeing this little rat, it almost feels like not a mockery of that shape, but it feels like a joke, a jest, to call yourself a fiend, But
here's the
then
thing.
again, yes,
You are familiar with 3 specific types of fiend. The first ones you fought were the Oberith, the demons that allied themselves with the Titan Promise. Beat back to the Abyss. Most of them were killed. They kind of had to recuperate their ranks, which is where the Tanari came in. Tanari were like new created demons, kind of more efficient, more vicious. Those are the ones you slaughtered en masse when you took Regilius. The third kind, as you mentioned just now, are Batezu, or devils, fallen celestials, much like your brother, formerly known as Ephialtes, now just the Hell Prince Deimos. Last time you saw him, you cut off both of his arms and cast him back into hell. You assume he died there then, but there's always a chance. You look at this rat, and the strongest feeling you get is probably something towards the latter, that there's something corrupted celestial about it. It looks like a devil. It's a devil rat.
it's a devil rat. And could I communicate with it if I tried? Does it speak a language that I could engage with?
You try to get Rattington's attention, and why don't you give me a charisma saving throw? Nothing
Charisma
high. You
saving
just
throw,
wanna you just wanna build. You just wanna hit a 10.
Oh baby, let's go.
What I'm having you roll
Alright,
for
that's one.
basically is you can't interface with this being, but every time you look into the darkness will look back at you.
Oh god damn it. That's a 6, Dungeon Mother.
You look at this very well-groomed, very well put together little rat with its tiny beady black eyes. Not so tiny. Wait a minute. These eyes are huge. You feel yourself falling down, down, down. It's like you're being burnt. You're no longer in the fields of Regilius, not even in the sky above Maracas. You're falling back into the 9 layers of Baator. Only for a moment, then you snap out of it, in a cold sweat. Another feeling you haven't felt in a long time. And you hear a voice in your head say, "Well, well, well. Finally got your attention, have I?
Well, I've been so busy having fun. You know,
Oh,
I
Dito,
recognize.
Dito. I do love your company.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if Omni thinks that's genuine or not, but
Want to give me? You can give me an
nonetheless,
insight. You can always give me an insight check.
I, I, you're right. I don't think Omni cares. I don't think Omni cares.
Doesn't care about this tiny southern gentleman.
No. I think Omni cares much more about testing them on one particular issue. And again, I'm sorry, I don't want to take the spotlight for too long. I just have a question.
Go ahead.
I have one question for Rattington, and because I feel like they've spent the most time with Xiomara, and even though Omni, yes, has been kind of living these last few days feeling as though this place is just a dream and it's not real, and it's their way of coping with the reality that they're in fact become the very thing they very much despise, and that even though they sacrificed everything in the world, it's still perpetually teetering towards chaos and destruction. Omni just looks straight into those large, bottomless eyes and asks, does Xiomara... At the end of the day, Xiomara hates the Archmage, don't they?
So it would seem, partner.
Omni... Now, I do want to insight that. I do want to insight that, unless you think, unless you want to save that.
It's a question.
Role.
Like, do you want Rattington to continue, or do you just want to? Is that answer enough for you? Because Rattington will just continue if you let him.
I let him.
Here's the thing, though. I've been following Samara around a long time, and all that I've noticed so far is they don't really care about anyone except themselves. Now here's the kicker. Rico is very much the same, and he knows it, and they know it. Shit, did I just miss dinner with that Archmage? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's hard. It's hard for us. We can't relate to them on a non-binary state because they're bad. Anyways, please continue.
Yeah, exactly. He get it. Now here's the kicker. Rico knows exactly how to exploit that. They know for what it is, which isn't strength but weakness. Nah, I don't give a rat's ass, pardon the language, or what Xiomara does or doesn't care about so long as I get my cheese. I'll tell you what, if anyone's going to make them a better person, well, might as well be you, right? Certainly not me. And he takes a big bite of the cheese.
It's odd. And now Omni's just fully comfortable, by the way. And I don't care if people are walking around being like, that strange person's talking to that rat.
But now, like, most of the guards have kind of cleared out. They're all getting kind of sleepy by the sound of the hail hitting the window. A lot of them taking rest. Some of them are just continuing the routes. You continue to converse with Lord Rattington in peace.
Yeah. We chat a little bit more. The conversation becomes a lot more casual.
Yeah, you talk a little bit about where Rattington comes from. Turns out, he's actually kind of a clerk that works on the 8th layer of the of Baator, Cania, where Lady Mephistopheles reigns. Do you ask him at any point about the Hell Prince Deimos?
I think Omni is in denial. I think it's in denial. It's been so long. Deep down, Omni is hoping that maybe the structure of hell has shifted in a way that the people who were properly in charge are no longer. Demons are not particularly, would you recall, or fiends are not particularly loyal creatures.
Here's the thing.
They embody...
you know that demons will backstab each other at any given point. It's the rule of the strongest in the abyss. Devils are a little trickier. Devils have a structure. They have courts, they have laws. They have specific rules that need to be kept, specific rights that need to be observed. Now, are they cutthroat? Yes, but they will always seek lawful ways to undermine each other.
You're correct. and I want you to understand that Omni knows that. They find it really hard to divorce their feelings about demons from devils. Like
Yeah, of course,
like
of
to them,
course.
to them, this is all part of a veneer, you know, the veneer of doing things the right way. But in the end of the day, they're cutting each other's throats. You know, be it in the shadows or be it open in the court, wide open in the court. It's still ultimately the same. I do think having been shaken by not only returning to that place of viscera and gore and engaging with this little fiend, I think Omni decides to just uh, leave that question hanging, the topic of Amos just hanging, and would like to enjoy the rest of this nice little meal with these two little companions.
Hey, let you talk to you, Omni. Now, you may be a double-crossing devil
Likewise.
killer, but I think you're right.
Oh, there's no reason why we can't be friends.
There is. There very much is. I can't stress enough how much there is reason for us to hate each other, but I agree. For the time being, I'm just your little red companion, and you're feeding me cheese. Boy, do I love cheese.
Fucking love that. That's so good. Okay, I'm done.
Fucking
That's so
not
good.
me having
That's
to
so good.
improvise on the spot what this rat sounds like.
Amazing
I- I-
choice.
If
Really
you hadn't said that, I would have been like, Siska was prepared for this the entire time. They knew.
I knew it was gonna
Sir
happen. Like, I knew
Rattington.
eventually Ratting was gonna talk. It was just like, all right. I mean, I know with a name like Rattington,
Darling.
there's gotta be something odd about him, right? He can't just be like,
Yes, I am a devil from the hells.
Tyr, the fuck are you up to?
Right, so we went down, like, we came from the observation deck. We saw the whatever cloud it was outside.
You saw something in the clouds.
Sick. What's Ren up to?
Ren starting to feel a little sick. Maybe something in the food, maybe it's the air sickness. She excused herself for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
As you move out, as you escort her to her chambers, now basically being the one in charge, assuming that that Sergeant Sargas hasn't, gone to rest yet, has gone to rest already. You're in the corridor and kind of in the twilight at the end of it. You see somebody looking at you.
I mean, it's a closed ship. I walk right up. I don't give a fuck.
You can see the figure.
I don't say that out loud. Sorry.
Kind of a medium-sized elvish woman, very curious but very sturdy-looking armor, moves around the corner and disappears. Do you follow?
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Yeah, of course I follow. I'm tasked with protecting the ship.
You kind of pick up the pace. You can see every time you turn the corner to where she just was, she's already at the end of the corridor and leaves. You do this for... Do you keep doing this? If so, how long do you want to do this for?
Okay, logically, I know if I do 3 right turns, I'm in the same corner again. So at some point, at that point, I'm just gonna stop and wait for them to like turn the same corner and like land on me, basically.
You do that, and in fact, she does. Give me a roll initiative for me, please. We're not starting combat. This is just to see who reacts first. And I'm going to roll for Flora as well. Should be
13.
+6, I believe. You come around.
What the fuck?
You come around the corner. Or rather, you stand at the same corner for a while, kind of ambushing her. Before you notice it, there's a blade at your throat, and you hear a whisper in your ear say, "Our friends and helpers in the guard. Now, why would you be chasing innocent women down a corridor, officer?"
Why would you be running from an officer if you don't have anything to hide? This is a
Shut
closed
up.
ship after all.
You talk a lot for somebody with a blade to your throat, officer.
Used to it.
She takes the blade away and says, "Well, aren't we all?" I saw you talking to the commander earlier. What did he tell you to do?
Patrol the ship, have an eye on my inferiors. You know, usual guard stuff.
She gives you a question and looks at. You think your men are inferior to you?
I'm still used to the language. I don't like it either.
Still used to it. Does that mean you've quit the guard?
You know, sometimes mentally I think I have. But I still respect these people.
Give me an insight check. As you say these things, the elf just kind of lowers her weapon. You can see this very long, beautiful, curved sword, which appears to be out of some kind of black glass. 16 inside, you look at her, and she looks taken aback by your honesty for once. She seems like somebody who's not used to dealing with people, at least not people from around here. And you believe that all she's gotten so far from the locals is dishonesty and deceit and, like, you know, kind of people talking around the bush. You just directly told her your innermost feelings, and she doesn't quite know how to react. This is, by the way, the woman that the commander told you to keep an eye on. To keep a lookout for, the elvish woman that was previously accused of murder.
Ah. I mean, the commander seemed to have an interest in you. I guess there's some sort of reason for it. You're not gonna cause any trouble, are you?
Are you?
I'm talking to the woman. Oh, wait, hold on. That was her answer. Why would I cause trouble? I'm here for my job, ma'am.
She points at the warhammer slung across your back and says,
I like being intimidating. What of it?
if you like being intimidating, you should work on your intimidating. She awkwardly kind of steps from one foot to the next, and if you don't interrupt her, she's just going to leave.
Are you nervous about something?
I'm not used to dealing with people from here. I'm not from here.
This is fine. I'm here to make sure you're not causing any trouble, but if you feel unsafe, I can guide you around. If
Are
you
you
need
saying
help
I
with the
can't
people.
protect myself?
If you didn't hear that, that was a deep sigh.
Her hand goes to her scabbard again.
Look,
Listen, officer, I don't even know what you call yourself. And I don't want to deal with any of this. Unfortunately, every time I try to carry on in my own quest, there's another setback, another person who wants something from me, another person who makes me do something that I don't want to do. And frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being surrounded by people with arms, always ready to use them on me. I'm tired of all my friends being strangers, and I'm tired of being away from people I care about. And most importantly, I'm tired of this conversation.
carry on then. Don't cause any trouble.
Scowls at you, turns her heels, and disappears. You carry on throughout the ship. You can tell it's kind of quiet. You move along the crew's quarters you know have been given to your platoon. No noise coming from inside of them. Dark. You can see outside the sky has taken on a deep pitch black, punctuated by the occasional white star. The hail from earlier has since ceased. It's getting kind of eerie. When suddenly the lights go out. Stacy and Shamara. Stacy, you've just grabbed Stacy's hand as they were about to take off a ring you assume to be important when you notice the lights going out.
Oh, how romantic.
Wait, has Stacy grabbed her own hand? I didn't get that.
Stacy grabbed Sumara's hand because Sumara was
Okay.
about to take off their ring
Yeah.
to reveal what they really look like. Because neither of them are sure that they aren't being watched.
Now, for anybody wondering as to how Omni went and they had a whole meal and a conversation in between the time that Xiomara and Stacy were literally having an interaction, the flow of time is distorted in this D&D setting. Okay.
Well, no. I mean, the implication is always that it's not that time always passes at the same speed. Sometimes we go backwards and forwards in time. Like, you went out there, and you let them finish the conversation, and at some point after that, you arrived in the eating hall. You didn't notice the lights go out in the corridors. Is that clear? Are we all clear?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Any
Yes,
more
ma'am.
questions about the flow of time in Anor Londo? I can give you a whole explanation about why Gwendolyn is actually a girl. I cannot give an explanation about why sometimes time doesn't make sense, okay? Like, who am I? Hidetaka Miyazaki? Fuck you.
It depends. Is the forest we're going to, is it actually a swamp? Asking for a friend. The friend is Xiomara.
No comment! No comment! Stacy, Xiomara, take it away, you
Shit.
bastards!
All right. So, when Stacy noticed that Xiomara wanted to take off her ring, she quickly grabs her hand.
Their hand.
Their hand. I swear I will learn it someday. Their hand and their ring. Stacy was quite surprised that this would happen at all, because this was none of the option she thought this will happen. And she starts to say, "It's not yet," and the light goes out. And Stacy tries to figure out what happens while still holding Xiomara's hands.
I'm incredibly confused right now. Do you want to know or do you not want to know?
Stacy whispers, "I have a feeling I know, but I don't need to know it right now. Don't worry. Only even the thing that you wanted to show it right now is enough answer for me right now, and I can work with that."
The two of you hear footsteps.
So we keep. Stacy. Oh God, I don't know English right now.
The footsteps, just for information, they are approaching from the opposite direction of the corridor, from which well, Omni went one way. These footsteps are coming from the other way. Walking
Can
in
I
the same
ready a
direction.
spell so that the second that I see if it's someone I trust or not, I can fire it?
What are you readying?
I think I'm just readying Firebolt. The easiest spell I can do.
Ah, yes.
That's
this is a different
Fireball.
level, yeah.
Not Fireball
Bolt,
for those at home.
Not ball,
no,
the
it's
tiny
fire-
one.
Everybody
Fault?
is at home.
Actually, it's Fire Fault.
Firebolt.
All right, that was today's session. Right.
I'm a fireball. Dum, 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 dum.
You hear the footsteps approaching very slowly, very casually. They don't seem to want to be sneaking up on you. Some kind of familiar, the gate. It sounds very soft too, like bare feet on carpet. Stacy,
If you don't.
Stacy, do you prepare yourself at all for what's to come?
No, Stacy just let go of Xiomara's hands, and she tries to see into the dark. You need to know she has a great passive perception of 23.
The person isn't even trying to hide. You can merely see the tall, or rather, the not that tall, lanky, ones here approaching you. Sumara, for the first time you actually notice the large crack across Sally's face, even though it is just in the twilight, though it is quite noticeable. And for the first time you think there's an eerie glow to his deep yellow eyes. He says, oh, there you are. Curious, right? The lights, well, let's just say I find these circumstances quite unelucidating.
I
Phew.
dropped the spell so I don't hold it anymore. I don't accidentally let it go.
You could do so. Sorry if I interrupted anything. I just want to make sure you're safe. Have you seen anybody else?
Well, Omni just left, but otherwise there are not many people around.
Who's
No,
Omni?
Seti goes, who?
Who's Omni?
a friend. You will get to know them later. I believe a comrade, a new one. We get a lot of those lately.
He nods sagely, not understanding anything.
Seti, good seeing you. Sumaro knows that, my dragon thingy. We're quite alright. Let's roll.
He smiles and nods, and then something seems to be really hurting him from the inside. You realize he's thinking.
Oh, you are so vicious,
Damn, catching
Rossetti.
strays. Damn.
You realize he's thinking and says, I think it might be best if we gather our allies and prepare for the worst. So, party, you've now arrived at the second part of this here trip. Let me just see. As everything does indeed go dark, you can see the lights have completely turned off. The humming and like the noises coming from the pipes have since ceased. Let me see if I can just upload the asset. But don't worry about it. Like, imagine it's a beautiful night painted in like indigo colors.
Perfect. So it would have been such romantic moment. Ah,
All right. Why don't y'all tell me what you'd like to do now? Do you find each other? Do you want to gather somewhere? Omni, you, I assume, finish your meal and go to return to your two spellcaster friends. You notice that the corridors have gone completely dark. In fact, slowly while you were sitting there, so has the kitchen. You can hear the chef is still working. You try to approach him, but he doesn't seem to react in any way.
I asked Reddington if this is normal for airships to just go dark suddenly.
Who do you ask?
Reddington.
Now you seem to be, Obama, you seem to be laboring under the impression that I'm some kind of air rat. As you can see, I don't have wings. I don't know
Not yet.
I don't know darn diddly about
You've
aviation
never been to
or
one
whatever.
of these airships here. That's odd. I thought you were a worldly rat, Reddington. I thought you had
Listen.
been places.
Have I traveled in a Mephistophelian dreadnought, traveling across the scorched skies of Bator? Sure have, partner. Have I traveled in an airship meant for the hootin' tootin' wealthy fools living in this mortal realm? No siree. Tell you what, though, whatever that is, it can't be a good sign.
Well, best we return to our friends then.
Do you have
Let-
dark vision, by the
Would be
way?
a shame. Oh, I do. Of course, I have dark vision.
Okay. In that case,
You're waiting for me to verify. I'm sure I have. Yeah, I
no,
have dark
I'm
vision.
I'm just preparing the new map. Okay, let me just grab.
I'll
the
have
little
you
Omni.
know that if we
Yes.
had time, I would have been like, well, did the lights ever go out in the dreadnought? Just apply the knowledge you know, Rattington. Jesus Christ.
Well, no. But usually they'd be fueled by the screaming souls of the damned.
I've no doubt I couldn't tell you one thing about how this darn airship is being fueled.
I do also want to say, I want to get as much Rattington as possible in this campaign.
Yes, but you were saying something.
No, I attempt my best. We're on our way to get back to. I'm gonna assume instead of going back to our quarters, I'm gonna go exactly to where we left Xiomara and Stacy.
Are you doing any? Are you looking for Omni then? For Omni, Flora, and Zizi then? Samara and Stacy.
I think we would look for our friends.
Yes, we
Um,
would.
Does Stacy have dark vision? Because I do, but I want to know if she has.
Yes, I have.
Okay. I will still cast dancing lights as we go so that it's nicer for us.
Just like the little candles.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
so
you
I'm
go.
up there. All right.
Yeah,
Haven't made much. Like we didn't fly really that far away, but it's fine.
could be a different city.
It could be. It could be.
Besides, like, I did basically repaint this whole painting. Like, that was entirely. I had to
Okay, I
say,
do want
Yeah.
to say I'm being a piece of shit. By the way, I'm being a piece of shit. I would never expect for you to like have to draw a completely different background for the. I'm being a shit. Bonk me.
I'm
Bonk
kind
me.
of happy how this turned out too. It's like I like the
It looks
colors.
beautiful.
It's very pretty.
Yes, it is.
Well then, so. While you go to find each other, I'm just gonna say that Seti is with you. You have no idea where Flora or Zizi are. Tyr. Where to go?
I mean, like, I've just been ghosted by this, like, person that seemed very, like, I'm not sure. I mean, I sort of said something. I think Omni put it best. It's just like somebody's trauma dumping, and then we were both trauma dumping, and they just left. And I'm like, I'm confused at the situation. But the lights went out, so this is really bad for me as a guard. I'm gonna try and see if there's any more guards in like the balls room.
In the balls room?
Yeah, dude.
Excuse me for jumping on that, but can we get 10 more minutes in the ballroom?
Actually,
I'm
before
sorry,
you get
I'm
10 more
sorry,
minutes in
I'm
the
sorry.
balls room, you get 5 minutes to go take a piss, girl.
Yay!
Yay!
Taking another break, folks. Say something absolutely batshit crazy
That's
for me,
right.
Florin, why don't you?
I'm thinking of so many political things, but all of a sudden, like,
Well, let's start with a classic, right? From the river to the sea, etc., etc.
I'm not going to say that.
I am. Well,
It's-
anyway.
There we go.
Traveling from the
Greetings.
sea down
Here
to the
we
inward
go.
rivers here, you are still on the airship, which has gotten a little darker. Tyr, you come back to the ballroom looking for any kind of guard. Nothing. However, on the way out to the ballroom, you meet this small, demure, strange humanoid
mindful.
person. Come again?
This is it, demure and very mindful.
I meant to say diminutive, not demure. That's what you did to me.
Aw.
That's what you did to me, Algernon. You and Ronnie with your fucking vocal stim. Come here like very demure, very mindful, very Tyr, there's an ASMR standing in front of you and they're looking at you with big eyes. There's a hamster and a rat on their shoulders.
Greetings. How are you doing? The lights went off. Are you alright? I'm looking for the other guards if you saw any.
Game Master.
Me.
How is this guard? What is the vibe that this guard gives me? Do they seem lost?
Why don't you both give me an insight check?
Oh, let's go. Let's fail inside each other. Let's go.
once again, like the
-1, baby.
the predator handshake where you guys just clasp hands and it's just the caption is
Yeah,
caption
let's
is
go, baby.
being very uninsightful. So the 13
don't
is
know
yours.
shit.
Is yours tier?
Mine is the 13.
13 and 3.
And I got a 3.
This is not good, Maxi. This is not good. Every time one of you has bad insight, I don't want to just be like, yeah, you don't know. I always want to be like, oh, you notice the opposite of what is the truth. But every time I do that, your characters stop doing stupid shit. In the very first episode, or like the very third episode, I had Seti roll an insight on a trapped chest. And because it rolled a natural 1, he thought it was safe, and he got blown the fuck up.
It was so
So if I
good.
now tell you that Tyr seems like a fiend and you have to attack him, you're actually going to do it.
No. My question was, does he look lost? Okay. He's like, oh well, yeah, he's lost. He should be at the bottommost depth of hell.
Well-
In which case, you know.
And I'm just approaching this person being like, I'm a guard. I can just ask people around here if they're okay. So that's what I'm doing.
Tyr is like, who's that lost child?
Exactly.
Okay, since you have the lower roll, I'm just going to tell you what you see first, Omni. You see this tall, burly, muscular orc man sitting in front of you. His eyes attentive, curious, but also tired. He doesn't look lost so much as he just seems... He doesn't seem lost physically, he just kind of seems lost spiritually, maybe. You do feel...
I
As somebody
appreciate
who, as a sucker for authority figures, you feel the need to respond to him. Here's what you see, Tyr. You haven't seen a lot of Aasimar around. Usually, they're like Lanternites, where they're like long descended from Lantana, goddess of the sun, who supposedly founded the old empire. Your own captain, like Captain Amos, he's part Aasimar, and sometimes it shows. You look at Omni now, they look crestfallen, forlorn. They were definitely on the way to go somewhere, but you don't think that they actually have any direction.
All right. Well, what's your name, Tiny One?
Not citizen, you start with Tiny One, huh?
Omni kind of puts their little like arms on their hips, kind of like standing akimbo. The name's Omni, Tall One. Who are you?
My name's Tyr. I'm part of the guard here. I'm sort of in command of things.
Oh, you're in charge.
You could say that, yes.
Is it normal for the ship to go dark like this?
You know, I'm trying to figure that out. First time for me to be on such a big ship, but I'm sure you are too, and you know, you can follow me around. We figure this thing out, okay?
As a matter of fact, I was gonna look for my friends, though. There is strength in numbers. Would you mind? Would you mind leading me towards insert name of the area where I last saw Sio and Stacy?
That's right. You were at the lower
The balls room.
Not the balls room. You were at the lower passengers lounge, which is kind of on the starboard, I think, side. What's the left? Left is
I think
starboard, right?
that's- I
Um,
think port side is right, isn't it?
Florian,
No,
you're a sailor.
starboard is right. The other one is left.
yeah.
You
Because
go
starboard
to
is
the
2
other
Rs.
one. You go to the one that isn't starboard.
Starboard sounds like Steuerbord, and that's right.
Right. Anyway, on your way to the lounge, you do run into 3 of your companions. You see Stacy and Xiomara, and another person, kind of snake-like in aspect. You've seen him around, definitely, Tyr. You see this kind of medium-sized, lanky 1T man. You know he's originally from the Undercity, but you've seen him all around the city. Like he's kind of like a charitable man, a man who just loves helping people in need. he doesn't have a lot himself, but he doesn't seem to need it. You know that he's of some kind of monastic order. And you know that his name is Siseti. One thing you've noticed about him, though, and that's something both of you notice, is there's some kind of strange depth to his yellow, viper-like eyes, and there's a big crack-like skin, crack-like scar across his face. Kind of like, as if he were a piece of marble that cracked in the middle. And he gives a curt wave and just lets Stacy and Samara do the talking. This can't be it, guys. You can't just, I bring you all together. Finally, the party is all together. And what do you do? It's just like,
We have a stare off.
I look at my shoulder where Peligro is. Look, Peligro, your friend's here. Xiomara, is it normal for ships to go dark like this?
Samara, why don't you finally put us out of our misery and give us a intelligence check plus proficiency?
This is called we foreshadowed this earlier because Xiomara was reading about ships.
I was reading about ships.
You're right. You're completely right. Give me Arcana plus. Give me Arcana advantage.
Okay. Advantage.
I don't know why I give you advantage. Your bonus is like plus
It's nice.
50 or something. Yeah.
Roll 2 once.
Yeah, I know I rolled twice, but it gave you the better one already. It's 23.
You know, you know that the lights dim usually, especially if you're on some kind of recreational barge like this, where the lights will dim at night so people can rest on the inside. They wouldn't go out unless the ship is currently being repaired, or unless it's in emergency mode.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Are these your friends? Omni?
Yes. These are my friends. Well, camera pans over to Seti. I don't know that big one, but the rest of them are my friends.
You say
All
big.
right.
Say looks down on himself and says,
I don't know. I don't think I've gained that much weight.
Seti approaches you here.
Omni meant like wide, by the way, because I picture him ripped like Goku.
Seti is
Sick.
mostly lean. He does have a lot of musculature, mostly because he's extremely dexterous. He approaches you here, gives a short bow and says,
I think I've seen you around in the university district. Right?
That might be correct. I patrol
that
there
is correct,
often.
yes. You patrol there very
I-
often.
Railroading in my game?
It's just, I'm just used to Flora and sometimes not knowing things and me just having to
No,
give
I know
give them
this.
to-
I know this, but I'm sounding okay. Come on, I'm trying to sound cool here. Yes, correct. You've seen me in the university. I recognize your face. Maybe I see a lot of people around. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. My name is Siseti. We haven't officially met. And
Of
who is this strange tiny creature with you?
Sumar,
Talking
this may
about
be a
my
time-
friend Omni over here.
Sumar, this may be a time for you to speak up.
Yeah,
I
see.
do want to say, unless Xiomara wants to get dethroned as Omni's friend, they better speak now, because Tira and I, we're hitting it off. We were talking about the cheese. It's
The
so nice.
cheese. The cheese is very important. So I think I'm gonna be like, that is, all of our comrades. I believe I look at here, not really knowing who he is, what he's doing here. I believe you're also part of the ship or something, but the darkness, not supposed to happen, really. I do not believe that they need to repair the ship in the middle of the flight this soon, and especially not without notifying us. So I would say we all go to the bridge and find someone who knows what could be going on. And then we will see what happens.
Right.
Seti walks over to you one more time, Omni, and says,
I take it you're one of Xiomara's new friends.
Friend.
Did they
Fast
summon
friend,
you?
yes.
Are you some kind of summoned creature?
Game Master, does Seti give me fiend vibes?
roll me
If yes,
insight.
small or
Roll
big.
me insight at
I
advantage.
do remember having a long flashback where I remember there being a tiny little snake-like child, and a part of me is like, wow.
Tell you what,
You said insight?
Insight, if you had a DC 10, I can tell you what you see. More importantly, if you hit a 12, I can tell you what you do not see.
You said advantage or disadvantage?
Advantage.
Thank you.
Seti is a very obvious person. Anyone would have advantage on insight check against him.
Let's see if this works.
Right.
God,
Does
I'm so
not meet the
stupid.
DC. Maxie, this is bad! Maxie, this is bad!
I want you to know, I don't think I've rolled higher than like a 10 the entire session.
Oh dear.
You know, Roll20 has a fudge button, so you can kind of like.
What?
No! I do want to say my first roll of the session was a nat 1, which took me to a negative, to a 0, so...
You can see... Is Eclipse floating around you at this point?
Oh, Eclipse is always floating around me.
Right, so you guys see appearing, basically out of, like, Omni's vast, like, coat cape, this, like, blue, amber-like orb floating around them. Seti doesn't seem to be able to know who to focus on. One of his eyes keeps chasing Eclipse, the other eye is fixed on you. You get the strong idea that he poses no danger.
As it should be, if he is in fact one of Xiomara's friends. I stretch my hand to him, which I assume is probably tiny compared to his hand, and I shake it. The name's Omni. Yet another of the Archmage's minions, it seems.
Minions. Minions are bad, but you seem trustworthy.
And so the 5 of you make your way towards the bridge, I take it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, I do want to tell them beforehand. It's like, hey guys, just so you know, there's one gnome up there, and he's really pissed. Just let me go first. I'll talk to him. Just stay back. Make sure you don't piss him off, because I can't have this. I don't need the engineers in disarray if we're already in clearly an emergency situation. Cue us all just bursting into the room.
I like the Tyr being very sensible, and then the rest of the party goes, "Nah, we're not gonna do that. Thank you." No. Tyr should definitely lead, I think.
As you guys make your way, kitchen, ballroom, completely dark by now. There aren't even any noises coming from the kitchen at this point.
Ball's room, by the way.
I will destroy you. You continue on upstairs, finding the main door to the bridge locked. Not just locked, but sealed. You can see there's some runes engraved on the door. Anyone can give me an Arcana check.
Of course, I will do that.
Can we roll like everyone or just one person?
Anybody, just roll it.
Okay, then I
Oh,
will roll
no.
Arcana.
We've got some
Once
good
again, a
intelligence
23.
right there.
I'm gonna let the smarty pants roll on this one.
Yeah.
Getting so many 23s today.
I just like everything.
yeah.
It's a good
What's up, Shamara? What's up?
Wait, hold
I
up.
don't know.
My
This
roll
is,
does
it's
not
because
go
that is my
through.
age now.
No,
Actually. I am
it's actually-
23.
Okay, I have to say, Algernon has rolled 3 23s in this session alone.
Fucking
Wait a minute. I can also do it. There we go. Hell yeah.
All right, so Tyr, you got an 11. Algernon, Shamara, you got a 23. Tyr, you're not 18. Okay,
Oh, finally the roll comes.
let's just do them all. With an 11, Tyr, what do you see? You have seen some scripts about this. You're familiar with a couple of majors, being that you mainly work throughout the university district. This seems like a summoning circle of some sort. What you see with an 18, Stacy, is it's actually not quite conjurative, it's also abjurative. Whatever it is, it seems to be warding off anything that tries to enter the bridge at this point. What you know is also it's written in a strange dialect of Primordial that you, Xiomara, who noticed both of those things, also noticed and would know to be umbral. The dialect of Primordial spoken in the Shadowfell. Your mind is taken back to the closed eye on your father's journal. Which you now realize also in the middle of this big summoning of this big like runic circle, the symbol of a closed eye. Which you would know, of course, to be the symbol of Umbra, goddess of darkness. Anyone try to touch the door?
No, Stacy would not try to touch the door. She would talk with Xiomara about the barrier.
I'm just
Say-
intimidated by things I can't enter because I'm the authority. If I can't enter it, then nobody should.
You look askance over the door and then look askance over the rest of the party, who seems to be lost in thought themselves. Seti massages his chin with one of his hands and says,
It seems somebody really does not want us inside that bridge. Should we touch it? Should we dispel it somehow?
I don't have dispel magic ready today. So if anybody else wants to give it a go.
do you communicate
dangers
any of
could it
what you've
possibly
learned, by the
pose?
way, to the rest of the party, Shamara?
Come again?
Do you communicate any of what you've incited from that to the rest of the party?
I think I communicated it's like the symbol of Umbra,
Yeah.
and what like all of that, but I do not communicate that is the same symbol as on the journal that I carry with me.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously, but everything
Sorry.
else besides that, I try to somehow give them.
You can all get up to date by you'll get updated by Samara. Maxi, you were saying something before I interrupted you so rudely.
Omni asks the party, though they're really looking at Xiomara. I'm sorry, everyone. What danger would come from touching it? It's merely just a door, is it not? A door with with latches. Could we not just remove this?
If we could remove it, that would be perfect, of course. But if we don't, I'm afraid that since it is trying to keep us out so dearly and possibly violently, I fear that we would either trigger a trap or something else. And I would not like for us to take the chance this high up in the air.
That's right.
What
So-
you
on
said
23,
makes no sense.
On 23,
But yet
I can
again, you're
definitely
very
tell
small.
you, I can definitely tell you, Samara, this enchantment is of a rather violent nature. Sorry,
Okay.
Tyr, you were saying?
I made a Lord of the Rings reference, and I'm sorry that I interrupted you.
Oh, you said speak, friend, and enter, and thought is a really
I-
clever.
No. I said that makes no sense. But you are very small.
All right. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Okay, party. You can
And I
tell
want
pretty
to
clearly
say-
that there's no way to carry on into the bridge. Tia, you remember that there's another way
Really,
into the bridge.
I have the spell magic as a cast.
Right. Before you do that, Tia, you would know that an alternative way into the bridge besides this door would be taking the lift from the observation platform, which you know has a ladder going to it on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, that's the next thing I was gonna suggest. Obviously, I remember that.
Does Tyr externalize this?
Look, people. So there is an alternative way into the bridge, but I need to make sure that I only take people that actually know their way around a ladder, and you can't be afraid of heights. So
These are stairs, technically. They have like small railings.
right. Okay, but is any of you like shy of heights? Are you guys okay with that?
You are inside of an airship, I will point out. No, Sadie will point out.
Well, we are inside of an airship, so that question is kind of moot.
Look, there's a difference between being inside an airship and then climbing down on the outside of an airship.
You are getting very indignant about this.
wait,
Are you
is-
sure it's
is
not
the-
you who's afraid of heights, officer?
Wait, is the bridge not on the outside as well? Why is there a bridge in the ship? I assume
Oh.
we'll be walking on the outside, right? Where does the bridge lead?
Oh, small child. I did this bridge is just part of the ship. It's kind of a vernacular for vessels of this kind. The bridge is just another room in here.
Well, that's just confusing. The lights come off. There's a bridge. That's just a room.
Where are your
plates were
parents?
not-
Where?
The plates were not even square. They were round.
I'm just imagining Omni pointing out at the window and the gibbous moon is out there, just looking at all of you.
Look, okay. I need somebody to watch the child, and the rest of you come with me. We go to the observation deck and then take the stairs down.
You can see Sadie steps right next up to Omni, and he kind of gets down to your height, Omni, and whispers in your ear.
I will play along if you play along too.
Omni likes this guy.
You guys hold hands as you go.
Yeah.
As you guys stop exploring the rest of the ship and immediately go up to the observation deck. Right.
Also, for anybody who wants to draw a silly doodle, draw Seti, but like they give Omni the little like child backpack. Like, it's like a little strap. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Omni just like in a baby Bjorn. Right. So we carry on. Here's the thing.
Oh, hi,
I have a lot of
I'm
notes
sorry.
for what's about to happen once you go up to the observation deck. What I don't have right now is maps. So what we're instead going to do is we're going to do for a little flashback round. Way on your way up the stairs, you can see it's a cold, harsh wind outside. The rain and hail have since left. You're kind of taken back to the time to all the events that led up to this. Maybe to the kind of people you were before all of this started. I'm just going to start in alphabetical order and ask Omni. What are you thinking about? What are you trying to remember?
What am I trying to remember?
Yeah, what are you thinking about as you go up the stairs now?
I think the first thought at the surface of Omni's mind, much like the wreckage of a ship, is the thought that these all seem like honest to good people, which is something that Omni has not seen in a while. They, the numbers in the army dwindled until it was just Omni fighting, and there were good people there, but they were lost. And in a way, Omni can't help but we're walking up the stairs and stuff, and I see flashbacks of like the people that I was leading, the people that I was walking along with, the same uniform that we wore back in those days, and I get a little nostalgic and a little sad. Because there is the unfortunate truth that no matter how hard you try, sometimes you will lose people in battle. And I feel like this flash of a memory, this flashback, if you may, saddens Omni.
Here's what you remember. As you walk up the emergency stairs up to the observation deck, cold wind hitting your face, you see a small shadow moving across the moon, and the moon, now out and bright and so incredibly close but so far away, it fills your heart with both sadness and warmth. You're wondering why your mother hasn't spoken to you yet. You're taken back to a particularly dreary day out on the field of Hades. You were just planning your assault on the Titan Promise. You hadn't seen your oldest sister, Nemnos, around for a while. And at some point you feel a familiar tug at your sleeve as you see your twin, you would call them sister, Ephialtes. Looks exactly like you. If only their face is fixed in an expression of permanent worry, and they look at you and say, "Do you feel it? Tell me you must feel it."
Feel what, sister?
Look around us. All these souls. All these poor creatures who would take arms for our cause and ask for nothing in return. Do you ever not feel the doom? It is on their mind all the time, I can tell.
Without realizing an Omni mimics the expression on their sibling. Oh. You care so much for everyone. It's hard, isn't it? I do not see them as you do, or feel them as you do. I do feel them. I think they're brave, though. What they do.
They take you by both of your hands and fix your eyes with theirs. Tell me, just to alleviate my mind, what do you think they hope for?
I think at the bottom of the night, they're doing this for us. For the little ones. For those not yet strong enough to fight.
They're doing it for everyone?
I think so. Some might do it for themselves, their kids, their children, their children's children. But I think at the end of it all, it's for us, the next ones in the line.
What do you think comes after this?
Omni tenses up. Childishly, foolishly, they say. Peace, of course. They'll succeed. And it will be over. And we'll live in peace again.
You hear a distant war horn, which, in retrospect, you know, was the message that the Titan Promise had been defeated by your sister while she was off on her own, and had nearly ended her. Naturally, what came after the defeat of the Arch-Titan Promise was not peace. Something you know now. Your siblings' words, what do you think comes after this? They ring in your ears as you continue up the stairs. Peace? Resolution? Who knows? Certainly not you. Stacy, what are you thinking about as you walk up the stairs?
Stacy thinks about the secrets which were being exchanged today, and that she was quite surprised that Yomara really was about to reveal something about themselves. And thinking further on secrets and keeping someone out or sealing a room, she thinks back to when she was still with her family and she wanted to enter a room which was dedicated to her father. And she was not able to enter, and she burned her hand, and a manservant took care of the burned hand. And yeah, how secrets keep around her somehow, and maybe this is the way forward to unravel all the secrets and be open.
All right, let me look up something real quick. Oh, dear.
While the Game Master is doing this, hey, if you're watching the VOD, consider leaving a like on this video. It helps a lot. Thank you. Leave
Oh,
a
yeah.
comment. What's been your favorite
And
moment
subscribe.
from this episode so far? Who's your favorite character and why is it Tyr?
Exactly.
Just
Also,
so-
why is it Tyr?
Why
I've
is
barely
it-
been here, and I've barely said anything. What's wrong with you?
That's the point. That's the point.
I feel, like the audience, they've been hankering for, some beefcake, and Tyr is fulfilling that.
And people long for another beat cop character. I mean, we cannot get enough of those.
Always.
Right, Stacy. You remember being being in the nursery back at your estate near Pedje, somewhere deep in the coniferous forests of the area. You could hear the birds outside chirping, a couple of snowflakes being kicked around by the wind, and this very kind man, similar in build and colors to you, kind of diminutive, kind of dark, kind of a light brown, dirty blonde kind of hair, and green eyes. It didn't occur to you at the time to make the connections. You know him simply as Villies, one of the manservants of the estate, and he says, "Right, there you are. Right. Now don't go around snooping into things that don't concern you, right, child? Soon when you'll be grown up and your own Duchess, you'll be able to do all of that on your own. But now you have to wait, huh?"
Oh, fine, but I wanted to see what father is all about. He always says, yeah, you have to learn and do that, and I try it to be this big grown-up girl, but sometimes he just leaves me out, and this is not fair.
Oh, you want to see what your old father is all about, eh? Well, I've got just the idea. What do you think we go hiking for a moment, for a day?
Stacy's face lights up and gets starry eyes and says, "Oh yeah, we go for a hike."
So you do. It's not hard for Phyllis to get permission from the Duchessa Canando for reasons that would be clear to you much, much later. You're on a hiking path through the forest. You never enjoy yourself as much as when you're out in the wild. You come towards a small grove with a statue inside. You see a tall, beautiful elven man clad in armor, holding up, holding in one hand a sword and in the other a bairn, a little baby. And he points at the baby, and Phyllis points at the baby and says, "See that? That's your brother. He was only just born. But see, your father, he fought bravely against the wild people who lived in this forest before we did, who stole babies in the night and turned them into soup. I'm very glad you didn't get turned into soup, and I think we can have your father to thank for that."
Yeah, baby soup is really not that tasty. Flan is much better. I will thank my father.
Perhaps you won't have to. I think he knows that you're grateful. He gives you a very sad smile. And how about we go to the kitchen and pick ourselves some flan, eh?
Flan! Yes.
You You carry on up the stairs. The cold wind of being far up into the skies, it kind of reminds you of the cold wind up north, where you were born and raised. Tyr, who are you thinking about right now?
Well, I guess, with my whole, with everything coming to an no, not everything. Oh man, I sound like a really old man. No, but I'm thinking about the fact that like it's coming full circle. I started out not planning to be a guard, and I'm thinking back to the days where I had my whole future in front of me, and then being a guard just fell right into my lap. I remember catching those thieves and being like, well, those people from the guard sure seem to like me, so I guess that's what I'm going to do. And I fondly remember the days where my parents still remembered who I am, even though they weren't too fond of feelings. I
You're
just
taken
remember
back to
that
one
day.
concrete day. As you look
It's
up
that
over
day.
over the forest, out in the forest down below. You remember a time when your father was still young enough to have hobbies. One of his biggest hobbies was, well, small game hunting. He took you with you. He had a big crossbow for himself, a small one for you. And you remember sitting down on a kind of crest overlooking a little valley in the Golo region. You looked down, you saw some kind of tiny dinosaur covered in feathers, kind of skittering around. Plunk! And it was dead. Oh no, so you thought. As soon as you came down to look at the thing your father just shot, you realized it was still very much alive and still very much in pain. So your father looked and he said, "Well, might as well make you a man now, boy." And he hands you a hunting knife. "Go on, the bird thing out of his misery, will you?" "Now go on."
Well, I've seen it before. I go for the neck.
A little bit of blood splatters across your face. Your tiny baby orc face. Who says, I've done it before. I go for the neck."
I wasn't gonna say that out loud.
Well, we can say that you did, but like
This was
you were just so
adult
funny.
me remembering it back as a child, being like, "Oh, well, I've seen my dad do it before. It sure didn't seem bad then, and then I do it, and it's just."
Before you can help yourself, you find yourself throwing up. It's messy. There's blood on your face, and now there's also vomit on all your clothes. Your father gets really upset. He starts yelling at you, tells you to stop being such a coward, stop being
That's
such a
mom's
wimp.
spaghetti you're throwing up.
You get back home, you clean up the little dinosaur, and you have it for dinner. Your father tells you about what kind of shame you were, and your mother says, well, he's still a child, Grandma. Just give him a little bit of time." "Well, there'll be enough time when I'm dead, but now he has to learn." I'm wondering if your dad will still be alive. Whether or not he will still be alive, you know that with him gone, a lot of little dinosaurs will be a lot happier.
Chickens. Are we talking about chickens, by the way?
I think we're talking about Microraptors. You can look that up.
Right. Chickens.
And Samara, what you thinking,
Yeah.
baby?
Azizi isn't with us, right? He's
Haven't seen him at all.
somewhere else. Okay. I sometimes very sporadically look back while we're walking, and I worry greatly about Azizi because I'm just remembering how much of a coward I was when I was younger, when I just left my best friend behind to basically run away again, or for the first time. Yeah, and I was just like reliving the day where I packed my bags and left home.
Instead of saying good morning to your father that day, you didn't even bother. It's not like you have a response. It's about 6 in the morning. His father has been out all week. He says it's business trips, but he never says what kind of business. You've noticed in the past few months that more and more servants of your villa just stopped showing up. Your favorite governante is... You haven't seen her in years. And she used to be kind of a big deal to you when you were small, and then one day after the other she was gone. And it's kind of fitting, you think, that now you're going to do the same thing. Just disappear like so many things from your father's life. So many treasures he didn't care to keep. You get out, walk down the street, it's almost too easy. There's a small queasiness in your stomach that soon passes. Replaced with nothing at all. We flash forward a couple of weeks. You're studying once again once your childhood tutor, now your professor at the uni, Professor Yendero. You're an exemplary student. He never had any complaints about you except your attitude towards the other students, as you are severely antisocial. Not that I ever stopped an aspiring wizard. You keep going for a couple more years. Finally, you hit the jackpot. You become an apprentice of the Archmage himself. Well, it's not quite what you thought it would be. Much like your father, Vico spends a lot of time away, only that they have more of a reason because they have to attend council meetings, attend any kind of trials involving the university. They get really involved in the administration of the university. In hindsight, you realize now that they never slept. They didn't have to, of course. They're not human. At that point, you just thought, of course, this is the minimum amount of dedication I have to bring to this. You remember Yosa, who just kind of quietly suffered alongside you. She was always open for you to socialize with her, but you didn't. Why do you think that is?
I think I saw her way more as competition than as a friend. And the need to be better in any way overshadowed any possibility of connection.
You were too afraid that she would eclipse you to let her ever come close to you. Such a shame. Ever since then, you've both left and returned to the apprenticeship under the Archmage. Finding the differences between being independent and being underneath another more powerful wizard hardly relevant. Life is pain to you. But you do wonder sometimes if you just let somebody into that brick fortress that is Xiomara's personality, basically. What kind of treasures they could have found? And what kind of treasures you could have found in others? You wipe away the thought immediately, and the only thing you're interested in finding right now is whatever is inside that darn bridge. All right! And that was session 17. Yeah!
Woohoo!
Wow. So cool. So epic. Baby orc
It
soup.
was. I had fun.
Who said baby orc soup and why?
I don't know who said
that,
it. I don't know
Maxi?
I don't know who said it.
I have the receipts, Maxi. Why did you do
Huh?
that?
Huh? Anyways. Orc
We
baby
didn't really
soup.
talk about it this session, but Florin,
Wait, is it
just for your
orc
introduction.
baby soup or Hold on. Is it orc baby soup or baby orc soup?
Well, it depends.
If I can have your attention for a little while longer before I release all of you, every session we do a little thing where one of the players gets a little reward for like fulfilling a kind of prompt. We haven't done any prompts lately because we've had 2 players joining recently. So I'm just gonna stick it to you, the new player, Florian. We have
Yeah.
I think 4 different kinds of
Yay.
rewards that rotate in between sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for playing so well with us and having so much fun with us. I'd like you to tell me 3 skills from your character sheet.
Skills for my character sheet.
There'll be a list of skills.
A list of skills.
And just pick 3 ones. Maybe mostly those that you would like to do better at.
Weirdly enough, I've been trying to go for. Oh, there we go. I've been trying to go for. What's going on? Hold on.
And when you
Sorry,
have
I'm
decided, maybe write them
navigating-
down somewhere, either in Roll20 or on Discord.
I would really like to put more into intimidation and perception,
Intimidation, perception, and
athletics.
you are now proficient in all the skills. If you are already proficient, you now have expertise.
Expertise.
Expertise means
me
you
ju-
add your proficiency twice. Usually a feature completely reserved to rogues and bards. I just like to give it to my players.
That's fucking sick. Okay, wait, which ones did I say?
Intimidation,
Athlet-
perception, and athletics.
This how you know Siska is like a primo, or rather prima,
What?
game master. Because if you had fucking asked me, I would have forgotten. I'd be like, oh shit, what skills did you say?
Intimidation, perception, and
By the way,
athletics.
for anyone out there who's wondering what the joke was, by the way, primo is not only a word for something that is like high quality, it's also the Spanish word for cousin. So I said prima more likely because Siska's my cousin.
That's right.
Quasin.
Sweet.
Cousin, my cousin.
Right. Any closing questions before we close out the session today?
9.
I think we answered
Okay,
everything. pretty
start listing them
comprehensively.
off then.
Come again? Any like immediate questions that come to you? Otherwise, of course, once again, we are going to have one-on-ones coming out of this session. So just text me whenever you're able. Just text me whenever you're able to just have a little talk.
What
And
if
we
I'm
can just talk about the
permanently
session.
unable?
We can talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, what we might be able to improve. I'm going to try to make sure this recording actually recorded, and maybe send it to Andy so you can send it to YouTube, so you can upload it to YouTube. I'm going to work on the session report as soon as possible.
What's
And,
the channel where you upload it?
there's a channel that's just called. Yes.
Parantir is me. It's on YouTube.
There's
It's,
also a channel on
Please
this
spell
Discord
it.
called
Watson Clips.
Watson Clips. Yes, you will find everything there.
I need like a letter by letter spelling of the name.
You will find a Discord channel where everything is posted, so don't worry about it. Right, that being said, fucking, yeah.